मेल किया आपने एक सेकंड वाली देखने हम लोग ही बात करेंगे आपसे, ठीक है? हाँ वो सारा डालते हैं, वो एक एक्सेल में प्लॉटिंग कर देंगे, फिर आपसे डिस्कस करेंगे, ठीक है?
Hello everyone, good evening. We shall be waiting for another 2 minutes for other people to join.
कर दीजिए शुरू।
कल आपको कुछ और कराएगा इसमें, ठीक है? मैं बात करके बोल दूंगा, ठीक?
Very good evening and a warm welcome to the speakers of the day, CA Pramod Jain ji, Central Council Member of ICI, CA Ashok Jain ji, Deputy Convener CA Vipul Mata ji, and all the members and participants for the 20th virtual webinar of Rohini CPE Study Circle. Today's webinar is divided into two technical sessions. First session will be taken by CA Ashok Jain ji. He will be delivering on recent developments related to our professional interest like income tax, GST, ROC, etc. from previous webinar till date. As always, we all will surely enjoy his enriching talk. Second session will be taken by a very renowned and learned speaker, CA Pramod Jain ji, on a new approach amid changes in Schedule 3, Audit Report and Director's Report. I am thankful to CA Pramod Jain ji for accepting our invite in spite of his busy schedule. He has unique way of sharing his knowledge. As in the past invited talks, he always tried to share his expertise by discussing each aspect of the provision minutely. After listening to his deliberation, members got enriched with additional professional skill. As we all are eager to hear to our speakers, I now invite CA Ashok Jain ji for his talk.
Thank you, Ravi Arora ji. Good evening, friends. First, I will share the screen. Good evening, CA Ravi Shankar Arora ji, Convener of the Study Circle, CA Vipul Mata ji, Deputy Convener of the Study Circle, Central Council Member and guest speakers of the today's program, CA Pramod ji. Ladies and gentlemen, I have compiled the notification and circular issued between our previous webinar to this webinar. First, I will take income tax part. TDS on salary for the financial year 21-22. The CBDT has issued circular that contains the rates of deduction of income tax from payment of income chargeable under the Act salaries during the financial year 21-22 and explains the certain related provision of the Act and Income Tax Rules 1962. इनका ये जो TDS के ऊपर जो सर्कुलर है, हाउ टू कैलकुलेट दी TDS ऑन सैलरी, ये हर साल ये इशू करते हैं. तो इस साल भी इन्होंने 15 मार्च को ये सर्कुलर नंबर 4 इशू किया है, दैट इज TDS ऑन सैलरी फॉर द फाइनेंशियल ईयर 21-22. कंप्यूटेशन ऑफ सैलरी के बारे में इसके अंदर काफी डिटेल्स में इंफॉर्मेशन रहती है, जैसे हाउ टू कैलकुलेट दी परक्यूजिट्स, रेट ऑफ इनकम टैक्स ड्यूरिंग दी फाइनेंशियल ईयर 21-22, डिडक्शन अंडर चैप्टर 6A and forms to be issued by the employer in respect of TDS on salary etc. तो एक बार तो ये सर्कुलर सबको पढ़ना चाहिए. Relaxation of e-filing of Form 3CF. The CBDT has issued circular that on consideration of difficulties in electronic filing of Form number 3CF as stipulated in Rule 5C1A, Rule 5F of the Income Tax Rules with effect from 1st April 2021. The CBDT provides the following relaxation. Applicants seeking approval under Section 31 of the Act may file the application in Form number 3CF physically during the period from the date of issuance of this circular till 30th September 2022. The date of availability of Form number 3CF for electronic filing of e-filing website, whichever is earlier. तो अभी तक ये जो फॉर्म 3CF है, वैसे तो ये इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फाइल करना था, जिसके अंदर जो भी साइंटिफिक रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है वो एक एप्लीकेशन फाइल करती है इनकम टैक्स में अप्रूवल के लिए. तो वो फॉर्म 3CF के अंदर एप्लीकेशन जाती है, क्योंकि 1/4/21 इन्होंने कह दिया था कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फाइलिंग होगी, लेकिन अभी तक वो फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल नहीं है. तो इन्होंने कह दिया कि आप जो फॉर्म 3CF है वो आप फिजिकली फाइल कर सकते हैं अप टू 30 सितंबर 2022, और जब तक वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फाइलिंग का फॉर्म नहीं आ जाता, whichever is earlier. Condonation of delay in filing Form 10IC. The CBDT has issued circular that the delay in filing of Form 1C as per Rule 21AE of the rules for the previous year relevant to the assessment year 2021 is condoned in cases where the following conditions are satisfied. The return of income for the assessment year 2021 has been filed on before the due date specified under Section 139. The assessee company has opted for taxation under Section 115BAA of the Act in E of the filing status and Part A General of the Form of Return of Income ITR 6. Form 1C is filed electronically on or before 30th June 2020 or 3 months from the end of the month in which this circular is issued, whichever is later. Basically जो भी कंपनीज ऑप्ट करती है 115BAA के अंदर, जिसमें 22% टैक्स लगता है प्लस 10% सरचार्ज और 4% एजुकेशन है, तो उनको एक ऑप्शन फाइल करना पड़ता है 10(1)(c) में बिफोर द ड्यू डेट. तो क्योंकि फर्स्ट ईयर था जो 2021 था, तो इसमें इन्होंने एक रिलैक्सेशन दी है कि जिनके भी 10IC फॉर्म फाइल नहीं हुए हैं फॉर द असेसमेंट ईयर 2021, तो वो अभी भी उसको फाइल कर सकते हैं 30 जून 2022 तक. No prosecution under Black Money Act. The CBDT has issued instruction that prosecution under Section 49 and 50 of the Black Money Act would not be initiated where penalty under Section 42-43 is not imposed or imposable. As per the provision to Section 42-43, penalty is not imposable where the assets is one or more bank account with an aggregate value not exceeding equivalent to 5 lakh at any time during the previous year. The instruction is issued since no such exception is provided under Section 49 and 50 of the Act. तो बेसिकली इन्होंने एक उसका क्लैरिफिकेशन दिया है कि कोई भी अगर मान लो आपकी फॉरेन, क्योंकि ITR के अंदर आपको फॉरेन एसेट्स डिस्क्लोज करनी पड़ती है, जो भी रेजिडेंट इंडियन है उसको फॉरेन एसेट्स डिस्क्लोज करनी पड़ती है. अगर किसी ने भी फॉरेन एसेट्स जो कि इन द फॉर्म ऑफ बैंक अकाउंट है और जिनका मैक्सिमम बैलेंस आउटस्टैंडिंग एट एनी टाइम अगर 5 लाख से नीचे है, तो उसके अंदर ना तो कोई पेनल्टी लगाई जाएगी ना कोई प्रोसिक्यूशन होगा. Clarification of crypto transaction. The central government has clarified that losses from one type of crypto or virtual digital assets cannot be set off against gain from other crypto assets while calculating income tax. The minister also said that while computing the income from transfer of virtual assets, no deduction in respect of any expenditure other than cost of acquisition or allowance is allowed. Basically, government ने अभी जो budget दिया था 2022 का, उसके अंदर 1/4/2022 से क्रिप्टो करेंसी की ट्रांजेक्शन पे 30% इनकम टैक्स लगा दिया है। तो अभी एक पार्लियामेंट के अंदर इन्होंने, मिनिस्टर ने एक क्लैरिफिकेशन दी, उसके अंदर उन्होंने कहा कि अगर 2 क्रिप्टो करेंसीज में, एक में गेन है और एक में लॉस है, जैसे उन्होंने एक एग्जांपल भी दिया कि एक मान लो बिटकॉइन क्रिप्टो करेंसी है और एक इथेरियम क्रिप्टो करेंसी, और एक में आपको प्रॉफिट है और एक में आपको लॉस है, तो वो लॉस दूसरी करेंसी से सेट ऑफ नहीं होगा। आपको जो प्रॉफिट है उस पर तो 30% टैक्स देना पड़ेगा और जो लॉस है वो सेट ऑफ नहीं होगा इसके अंदर। इसी तरह इन्होंने एक क्लैरिफिकेशन दिया कि
कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हैं।
सर कैरी फॉरवर्ड तो अभी, क्योंकि इसका जो अभी बजट पास होना है, बजट के अंदर सेक्शन के अंदर सारी मतलब जब ये नोटिफाइड हो जाएगा एक्ट, तब उसमें हमें पता चलेगा कि बेसिकली करना, क्योंकि ये भी अभी इन्होंने क्लैरिफिकेशन दी और इसका भी काफी लोगों ने अपोज किया है कि भाई ये तो सेम हो गया कि आपने टाटा का शेयर ले रखा है और एक रिलायंस का शेयर रखा है, एक आपने बेची, एक में लॉस हो गया एक में प्रॉफिट हो गया, और वो दोनों सेट ऑफ नहीं होंगे। तो ये तो वैसे तो देखो तो बहुत ही डिट्रीमेंटल है, लेकिन अभी तो क्लैरिफिकेशन हो दिया। अब जो एक्ट पास जो होगा उसके अंदर क्या आता है उस पर पता लगेगा। इसी तरह इन्होंने कह दिया कि कोई डिडक्शन अलाउड नहीं होगी, सिर्फ कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन है, सिर्फ वही अलाउड होगी। तो उसमें जो जो कंपनियां माइनिंग कर रही है और जो माइनिंग के अंदर कॉस्ट आ रही है, वो कह रहे हैं कि हम उसको भी अलाउड नहीं करेंगे, जो माइनिंग की कॉस्ट आ रही है वो भी कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन में अलाउड नहीं करेंगे। बाकी तो ये पास होने के बाद ही सारी पोजीशन क्लियर होगी। जीएसटी, power of passing order of notice issued by DGGI. The CBIC has issued notification and make the following amendment. After para, the following paragraph 3A has been added, notwithstanding anything contained in para 3. The additional commissioner or the joint commissioner of Central Act, as the case may be, subordinate to the principal commissioner of Central Tax of the commissioner of as specified in table. तो बेसिकली इसके अंदर क्या किया, जैसे DGGI है, उनका जो जुरिडिक्शन होता है वो ऑल ओवर इंडिया जुरिडिक्शन होता है। वो किसी भी एसएससी के यहाँ इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर सकते हैं, किसी भी एसएससी के यहाँ उसको रेड कर सकते हैं, लेकिन जो उनका पावर है वो सिर्फ शो कॉज नोटिस इश्यू करने तक का है। शो कॉज के बाद में जो उसका शो कॉज का जो एजुकेशन होना है वो आपका जो रेंज है उस रेंज में होना है। तो बेसिकली इन्होंने इसके अंदर एक 3A टेबल ऐड कर दिया, जिसके अंदर 8-10 इन्होंने जो प्रिंसिपल कमिश्नर के अंडर में जो सबॉर्डिनेट है, एडिशनल कमिश्नर है या ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर है, उनको उन्होंने ऑथराइज कर दिया कि जो भी शो कॉज नोटिस डीजीआई इशू करेगी उसकी जो प्रोसीडिंग्स है वो ये कमिश्नर करेंगे। इसी तरह इसी से रिलेटेड इन्होंने एक जो सर्कुलर भी इशू किया है कि जो प्रॉपर ऑफिसर कौन है, जो अंडर सेक्शन 73 और जो 74 ऑफ द सीजीएस एक्ट है, वो ये नोटिफिकेशन जो 2 आया जो मैंने पहले आपको बताया, उसी के बाद ही ये इन्होंने क्लैरिफिकेशन इशू किया है। तो उसके अंदर इन्होंने कहा है कि जो to empower the additional commissioner of central tax or joint commissioner of central tax of some specified central tax commissionerate with all India jurisdiction for the purpose of education of show cause notices issued by the officers of the Director General of Goods and Service Tax Intelligence. Consequently, para 6(7) of the circular 31 dated 9th February are hereby amended in the Central Tax Officer of Audit Commissionerate and Director General of Goods and Service Intelligence shall exercise the power only to issue the show cause notices. A show cause notice issued by them shall be educated by the competent central tax officer of the executive commissionerate in whose jurisdiction of the notice is registered, when such case pertain to the jurisdiction of one executive commissionerate of the central tax only. तो जो भी आपका मान लो ऑडिट होता है, कल को ऑडिट के में कोई अगर वो शो कॉज नोटिस इशू करते हैं या जो डीजीआई का इन्वेस्टिगेशन होता है या रेड होती है उसके अंदर जो शो कॉज नोटिस इशू करते हैं, तो उन्होंने कुछ स्पेसिफाइड सेंट्रल टैक्स कमिश्नरेट बना दी जिनका ऑल ओवर इंडिया जुरिडिक्शन रहेगा। और जो भी एसएससी, जिसमें मान लो दिल्ली है, जैसे दिल्ली का अगर कोई एसएससी है और उसका मान लो डीजीजीआई लखनऊ ने उसका किया या यूपी ने किया, लेकिन जो शो कॉज तो वो इशू कर देंगे, लेकिन उसके बाद में जो उसका एजुकेशन है नोटिस का, वो यहाँ पे जो जहाँ पे उसका कमिश्नरेट फॉल करेगा उसके अंदर होगा। सेम इसी तरह इन्होंने एक क्लैरिफिकेशन और दिया कि मान लो कोई सेम पैन है, एक ही मान लो दिल्ली के अंदर उसके 4 पैन है और चारों अलग अलग जुरिडिक्शन में फॉल करते हैं। इसी तरह मान लो कोई एक ऑल ओवर इंडिया बेसिस के अंदर उसके पास पैन के ऊपर डिफरेंट स्टेट्स के अंदर नंबर है, लेकिन इशू जो इन्वॉल्व है वो उसके अंदर सेम है, तो उसके अंदर जिसका हायर टैक्स होगा उस कमिश्नरेट को ये कर देंगे कि भी जितने भी जो भी शो कॉज नोटिस इशू डिफरेंट जीएसटी नंबर्स पे इशू हुए हैं वो सारे एजुकेट एक ही जगह होंगे जहाँ पे हाईएस्ट उसके अंदर टैक्स की डिमांड होगी। enhance registration application user interface. User interface with respect to address field in registration application GST has been enacted as follows. Incorporation of map tile along with the drag and drop facility of address pinhead on the exact location of the applicant address. Once selected, the details will automatically fill the various address input fields given in the applications. Address fields have been linked so as to autofill other macro level address entry field based on the entry in such field, particularly pin code. For example, entering pin code, the corresponding state and district will get auto populate. तो REG1 के अंदर क्योंकि जो रजिस्ट्रेशन है बेसिकली ये चाहते हैं कि हम इसको वेब बेस्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन कर दें, तो उसी के लिए ये चेंजेस करते जा रहे हैं. ये इन्होंने इसके अंदर और चेंजेस किया है. इसी तरह से इसके अंदर द यूजर कैन ऑल्सो डायरेक्टली फिल अप द एड्रेस इनपुट फील्ड विच आर नाउ एडेड विद suggestive address input drop down menu, and user can select the appropriate relevant address field. This action will reduce error in the address text. इसी तरह address fields have been segregated able to reduce the confusion by entering the relevant inputs. Based on the address entries given, the latitude and longitude of the address will get auto populated, which is non-editable. तो ये GSTN ने इस instructions दिए 10th March को. Unblocking of ITC. The Department of Trade and Taxes has issued policy circular that it is noticed that most of the these taxpayer ITCs would have been blocked by the officer on account of some mismatches, investigation, non-existence of your alerts from other state central jurisdiction authorities regarding taxpayer. Hence, it is important that all such cases are taken to their logical conclusion in the town mind manner. The matter has been examined and the proper officer may immediately take step to finalize the investigation proceedings. Basically क्या है कि ये दिल्ली ट्रेड एंड टैक्सेस ने इशू किया है ये पॉलिसी सर्कुलर. जीएसटीएन ने दिल्ली जो ट्रेड डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ ट्रेड टैक्स इनको कहा कि भाई आपका जो जीएसटीएन के अंदर ऑलरेडी 6414 जीएसटीएन नंबर्स हैं जो आपने ब्लॉक किए हुए हैं आईटीसी के लिए, दैट इज मोर देन 1 ईयर, और उसके अंदर जो आईटीसी ब्लॉक है वो 2037 करोड़ है. तो इन्होंने कहा कि भाई आप, क्योंकि उनका एक ऑटोमेटिक उसके अंदर है कि अगर 1 साल तक कोई अगर आईटीसी ब्लॉक रहता है उसके बाद वो ऑटोमेटिक उसको रिलीज कर देंगे अगर प्रॉपर ऑफिसर उसमें कोई भी एक्शन नहीं लेता. तो उन्होंने दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट को कहा कि आपने इतने अकाउंट ब्लॉक कर रखे हैं जो 1 साल से ऊपर हो गए हैं, उसको आप करो, नहीं तो हम इसको अनलॉक कर देंगे सब अकाउंट्स को. उसके लिए इन्होंने पॉलिसी सर्कुलर अपने ऑफिसर्स को दिया है कि भाई आप इसको टाइम बाउंड मैनर के अंदर जो भी एक ब्लॉक अकाउंट है उनको आप जो भी रिकवरी करनी है वो DRC 07 से रिकवरी करो या उसको अनब्लॉक करो. Amendment in LLP rules. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has notified the LLP Second Amendment Rules 2022 to amend the existing limited liability partnership rules. The amended rules would come into force on date of publication in the official gazette. The key amendment includes increase in allotment number of DAPN to 5 in incorporation form. पहले आप सिर्फ 2 DPIN ले सकते थे, अब उसमें आप 5 तक ले सकते हैं. अलॉटमेंट ऑफ पैन एंड 10 अलॉन्ग विद सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन. पहले ये नहीं होता था कि कंपनीज के अंदर तो पैन और 10 ये अलॉट कर रहे थे सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन के साथ में, अब एलएलपी के अंदर भी इन्होंने कर दिया. इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ वेब बेस्ड प्रोसीजर फॉर एलएलपी इनकॉर्पोरेशन इन लाइन विद स्पाइक. इंक्लूजन ऑफ डिस्क्लोजर कंटीजेंट लायबिलिटीज इन फॉर्म 8. शिफ्टिंग ऑफ ऑल फॉर्म्स इनटू वेब बेस्ड फॉर्म्स. Inclusion of provision signing of statement of account and annual return of LP under insolvency. तो insolvency का इनके अंदर अभी तक कोई इन्होंने प्रोविजन नहीं दिया होता. पहले कहा होता खाली डेजिग्नेटेड पार्टनर साइन कर सकता है. तो अब इन्होंने अगर कोई LLP अगर कोई इंसॉल्वेंसी के अंदर है तो उसमें जो इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल है वो भी ऑथराइज हो सकता है टू फाइल दी फॉर्म्स. तो बेसिकली इन्होंने काफी चेंजेस किए हैं इसके अंदर और ऑलरेडी वेबसाइट पे भी ये चेंज कर चुके हैं इससे रिलेटेड. Registration on GEM portal. Clarification regard to the CA in practice forms of chartered accountants registering themselves in GEM portal. As a member are aware, Government of India has mandated procurement of goods and services by government department through GEM portal. The institute has received inquiries as to whether CA in practice forms of chartered accountant can register themselves on GEM portal, as registration on GEM portal is pre-requirement for providing professional services to the government department organization. It is hereby clarified that CA in practice form of chartered accountant are permitted to register on GEM portal for rendering professional services. The information being published on the portal should be in compliance with the provision of code of ethics. तो ये ICI ने clarification दिया है कि आप GEM पे registration कर सकते हैं and it should be compliance with the provision of code of ethics. I have compiled the compliance dates for the rest month of March and up to 15 April. Thanks very much. Thanks to the member for the patient hearing.
Thank you, Ashok ji, for updating us of recent developments. Before inviting CA Vipul Mata to formally introduce CA Pramod Jain ji, I would like to say a few words about him. CA Pramod Jain ji is one of the top speakers on Companies Act and Income Tax Act and has thorough knowledge and experience. He has provided the members opportunity to ask questions on www.expertspanel.in and provided more than 30,000 answers for about 24,000 questions asked by the members, which were taken care by 120 experts. During last year, in celebration of Bharat ki Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, ICAI organized panel discussion on various topics of international taxation, FEMA, and money laundering. His effort to bring good speakers on this forum is laudable, as it not only increased the knowledge of the participants, but they got an opportunity to interact with the different speakers of repute. We are privileged to have him today for a talk on topic new approach amid changes in Schedule 3 audit report and director's report. Now I invite CA Vipul Mata to formally introduce CA Pramod Jain ji.
Thank you, Ravi uncle. A very warm welcome to Pramod ji. I'd like to read your brief profile. Pramod Jain ji is a commerce graduate from Sri Ram College of Commerce. He is a fellow member of ICAI and also the fellow member of ICSI. He is a fellow member of ICAI as well. He is a Bachelor of Law LLB and he has qualified DISA from ICAI. He is also a member of All India Management Association. He is also an insolvency professional and has passed the certificate course on CSR of ICAI as well. He has also passed the proficiency self-assessment test for Independent Directors Data Bank. He has passed certification course of NCFMF of National Stock Exchange of India. He has also done certification course CAAT and post-qualification certification course on valuation of ICAI. He is elected as the Central Council member of ICAI for the period 2019-2022 and again from 22 to 25. Apart from being member in more than 25 committees, groups, directorates of ICAIs, he is or was the chairman of Accounting Standard Board for the year 22-23, chairman of Expert Advisory Committee for year 22-23, chairman of Committee on International Taxation for the year 21-22, chairman of Taxation Audit Quality Review Board for the year 21-22, chairman of Valuation Standard Board for the year 2021, chairman of CSR Committee of ICAI for the year 2021, vice chairman of Committee on MSME and Startup for the year 2021, vice chairman of Women Members Empowerment Committee for the year 21-22, vice chairman of Direct Tax Committee for the year 19-20 and 2021, vice chairman of Committee of International Taxation for the year 19-20, member of ICAI Disciplinary Committee Bench 1 for the year 2021, nominated as member of Quality Review Board for 3 years from 20 to 22. He is a conceptualer behind the portal expertpanel.in, which is one-stop solution for all professional queries, which has given more than 32,000 answers since its launch, which was way back in mid-2018. He has delivered more than 1,400 lectures and articles on various topics of of income tax, corporate laws, LLP, audits, peer review, quality review, etc. at more than 200 forums throughout the country. Most of his presentation and articles since 2013 are available free for download at lonavat.com and from 2018 at expertpanels.in. He is a senior partner at Lonavat and Company Chartered Accountant. He is the president, founder, convener, and member of various boards, directorates, committees, study circles, etc. of ICAI, ICSI, and other prestigious bodies and associations. He has been a technical reviewer with FFRB and Quality Review Board and peer reviewer with the Peer Review Board. He has been an author to many books, to name a few: Chartered Accountants, Documentation and Compliance for Audits and Review, Limited Liability Partnership, a complete resource book, Chartered Accountants, Documentation and Compliance for Audit and Reviews, and many, many more. He has written various articles on taxation, company law, audits in various journals, and has vast practical experience in income tax, audit, corporate laws, and LLP. Sir, I'm thrilled to invite you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Vipul. Thank you very much, Vipul Mataji, the Trippi convener, the international convener of the Rohini CPE Study Circle, because currently he is stationed internationally in Australia, Csr Ravi Shankar sir. And thanks a lot, Ravi sir, that despite being there in Australia, and I suppose there the timing is late night, but still you are there with your own study circle. So it is really good. Great. And our speaker for the day, CA Ashok, Kumar Jain ji, the past convener too. And in fact, really that the process which you have already started since now, I suppose, umpteen number of years, since so many years now, to share the latest updates for the last month, since the last meeting is really great. And I understand that how much efforts it goes to collate all those information and then present before all the members. So Jain sahab, you're doing a fantastic job, and all members have appreciated. So great kudos to the whole study circle, Rohini CPE Study Circle. Great, thanks. Thanks for inviting me to share my views on the latest changes in Companies Act, including the Schedule 3. I'll be sharing a presentation, and if you have any question, please do ask by putting that in the chat box. And if I ask a question, again, I'll request you to answer that in the chat box. I'll be seeing that and then responding back. Let us try to have it as informal as possible, because हमारा अपना ही रोहिणी CPE Study Circle है, कोई बाहर वाली बात नहीं है. So we can discuss anything which we want very openly out there. So I'm just sharing my screen. Is the PPT visible now?
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Yeah. Right. Thank you. Starting with, we have been always talking about certain extensions, and this time again, there is a filing extension we talk about. But when we talk about extensions for the filing under the Companies Act, the MCA, you know, there is never an extension of the due date. हम कहते हैं भाई AOC 4 की date extend हो गई. It is never so. There is never a change in the extension in the due date of filing of the forms. Please understand this. We being professionals, we should be very careful in understanding this, because there is no extension of the date for filing. Only the relaxation which is given is that we can file those forms without additional fee. Without additional fee. It is not a change in the extension in the date. Only the extension in the dates which were given was for holding AGM 2 years consecutively due to COVID. But that again was not given by MCA, because they don't have the power under the Companies Act. So it was given only by the Registrar of Companies. So that way it was given. And we all know that for AOC 4, it was up to 15th March, and for MGT 7, it is up to 31st March 22, without the additional fee out there. Now here one of the questions. Because filing of the income tax return was up to 15th March for the companies, and the revised or belated return can be filed up to 31st March. So there could be any cases where some of the audits were practically not done by the due date of holding the AGM, that is 30th November. And the clients, the companies are coming in the month of March. So my question here, so what have we done or what we are doing? Because today also I had a question on this. Today also I had a question on this, sir. The client has come today. If we don't do in 30th November, because the issue is for generation of the UDIN. Generation of the UDIN where it was only 60 days. So 30th November, January, and the due date was there for the UDIN. So what is your view, all the participants and the panelist speakers, the conveners, deputy conveners, and Ashok ji, that what to do in such cases where the client has come so late in February or March? तो किया क्या? क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं है कि हमारे किसी क्लाइंट के केस में ऐसा नहीं हुआ होगा, कुछ केसेस में हुआ होगा और अभी भी कुछ आ रहे होंगे. तो what are we thinking? What we have done? This is my question. Have we signed in the current date and there is a penalty for the AGM, or we have signed in the back date saying that the UDIN we forgot to generate?
सर बैक डेटेड तो पहले भी होता था, लेकिन जब ये यूडिन आ गया उसके बाद में 60 डेज की जैसे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस हो गई, और उसमें मतलब क्योंकि आप करंट डेट में तो साइन ही नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि आपको एजीएम का एक्सटेंशन लेना पड़ेगा, और जो एजीएम का एक्सटेंशन था वो 30/11 से पहले ही अप्लाई करना था, तभी आपको एजीएम का एक्सटेंशन मिलता है. अदरवाइज तो अगर आप करंट में करेंगे तो जो एजीएम का डिफॉल्ट है और जो भी उसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं वो फॉलो करने पड़ेंगे क्लाइंट को.
सब बिल्कुल सही है, पर जो फरवरी में आए मार्च में उसका क्या किया, मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ.
सर हमारे तो कोई नहीं आया, लेकिन
आपके पास कॉल आए होंगे बहुत सारे मेंबर्स के.
हाँ, वो मेन यूडिन को लेके प्रॉब्लम है सबसे बड़ी कि भाई यूडिन. हाँ,
तो क्या किया, मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि ऐसी सिचुएशन तो आगे भी आएंगी. तो लेट अस हैव अ थॉट प्रोसेस ना, कि हमने क्या किया, क्या करना चाहिए. Anyone from the participants? UDIN लेट किया या क्या किया? किसी का आया नहीं आंसर अभी. लेट UDIN, साइन इन बैक डेट. नीरज जी आप कह रहे हैं शुड साइन, शुड तो है, शुड तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, बट किया क्या, मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ. सो साइन इन बैक डेट, लेट यूडिन, मेरे पास भी बहुत क्वेश्चंस आए. फ्रेंड्स सिर्फ एक ही बात है, आप समझिएगा एक बात को, कि साइन इन करंट डेट ओनली एंड जनरेट यूडिन नाउ. इशू जी, यू आर राइट, बट हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस हैव साइन्ड इन द करंट डेट एंड टोल्ड द क्लाइंट टू apply for condonation with ROC for default in holding AGM time? Sanjeev Kapoor. Yes, very rightly, Sanjeev जी, ईशू जी, बिल्कुल सही है. अब हमारे पास, मेरे पास जितने कॉल्स आए उसमें ये है कि क्लाइंट को एजीएम का नुकसान हो जाएगा. सो सरिया सर ने कहा कि लेट यूडिन ओनली इन वन केस. सो नाउ व्हेन द यूडिन इज लेट एंड वी राइट दैट we forgot to generate the UDIN, and the documentary evidence says that audit was done late, ITR was filed late. My late means after generation of the UDIN. AOC4 was late. Then it comes that chartered accountant is saying that the client is very honest, very timely, very perfect. Only the default is 100% of the chartered accountant. He is negligent, he is not capable because he forgot to generate the UDIN. So the chartered accountant readily, happily takes the blame 100% on himself, where he says, it is my default, client is very genuine, very right, very on time. He came on time, we did the audit at that time, it is my 100% fault that I forgot to generate the UDIN. So CA is taking that risk. Please understand this. The moment we sign the documents in the back date, generate UDIN, saying that we forgot to generate the UDIN, we are openly making a declaration that 100% fault is of the chartered accountant. Client तो बिल्कुल सही था, सारी गलती मेरी है. क्या हम लोग इसके लिए रेडी हैं? बिकॉज ये सिचुएशन आगे भी आएंगी. All other things are done within prescribed time limit of extended date. Extended date का मतलब यह है कि आपने ITR भी टाइम से की, AOC4 भी लेट किया, बट सारी गलती तो आपकी हुई ना, क्योंकि आपके यूडिन आपने फरवरी में जनरेट किया और ये लिखा कि मैं नवंबर में करना भूल गया था, और आपका ड्यू डेट ऑफ ITR और ड्यू डेट ऑफ AOC4 में जमा करा, यानी क्लाइंट वाज परफेक्टली करेक्ट. क्लाइंट की तो कोई गलती है ही नहीं, वो तो सच्चा शरीफ टाइम से आने वाला इंसान है. सारी गलती मेरी है, मैं भूल गया, हम ये कह रहे हैं. सोचिएगा एक बार, वी आर रेडी टू टेक ब्लेम ऑन आवरसेल्व्स. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू, अगर कभी कोई केस DC में आ जाएगा तो अपने आप को बचाना बड़ा मुश्किल होगा, बिकॉज सारे एविडेंसेस ये कहेंगे, चाहे वो अगर फोरेंसिक हो जाएगा तो बच ही नहीं पाएंगे, लेकिन फोरेंसिक छोड़ दो, बहुत रेयर केस की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. बट व्हेन इट कम्स, देन व्हाट विल हैपन इन द DC? The same client will say he did the audit in the backdate. He will have that evidence. We are trying to save the client, but his relatives, he himself, his clients, anyone can pinpoint any date later after 1 year, 2 years also. So think 10 times why we are helping or risking our certificates for such a client who comes late, who doesn't hear to us. सोचिएगा, मैं सच बता रहा हूं, मेरे पास ज्यादा नहीं तो कम से कम 50-60 फ्रेंड्स की कॉल आए all over India से for asking this UDIN only. Then the thought process which I have shared with you, I shared with them, and each and everyone generated UDIN in the current date. कहता why should it is not my fault, उसकी गलती है, वो लेट आया है, मैं क्यों अपना सर्टिफिकेट रिस्क में करूं? किस चीज के लिए? उस क्लाइंट के लिए जो कि मेरी वैल्यू नहीं करता, मेरी इज्जत नहीं करता, और मैं इस डर के मारे कि वो क्लाइंट चला जाएगा जो कि मेरी इज्जत नहीं करता, मेरे टाइम से नहीं आता. 10 बार मैं उसको कॉल किया, पूरे साल भर में वो आया नहीं. सोचिएगा, बिकॉज दीज थिंग्स वुड बी कमिंग टाइम ऑन टाइम लेटर ऑन ऑल्सो. जितनी हम उनको लिवरेज देंगे, हम कहेंगे कि हम बंदे हुए यूडिन से, आई वोंट डू इन द बैकडेट, आवर रेपुटेशन वुड इंक्रीज, एंड ईच एंड एवरी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट शुड टेक अ कॉल अकॉर्डिंगली प्लीज. किसी को कोई डाउट हो, कुछ हो, मेरे को 1-to-1 कॉल भी कर सकता है, वी कैन डिस्कस दैट इन डिटेल. सो एक्सटेंशंस हैं, बट टेक केयर, वी शुड नॉट रिस्क आवर इंटीग्रिटी इनटू दैट and have unnecessary stress burden on our mind, right? Going further, बजट स्पीच में जो मैं अभी डिस्कस कर रहा हूं, मैंने पिछले साल भी डिस्कस किया, इस बार दोबारा आपको बता रहा हूं, बिकॉज these are certain professional opportunities for the chartered accountants. The two things: one, that the definition of the small company has changed with effect from 1st April 2021. If we remember, पहले क्या था कि अगर उसकी paid up capital is less than 50 lakhs, not exceeding to 2 crores, and turnover less than 2 crores, not exceeding 20 crores, दोनों condition meet out होती है तो small company थी. Then they increase this limit from 2 crore to 20 crores, and this 20 crores to 100 crores. पहले 50 किया, फिर 100 किया. तो I had been telling them कि सर आप ये ऊपर वाली लिमिट तो बढ़ाते चले जा रहे हो, बट ये एप्लीकेबल तो यही लिमिट है 50 लाख और 2 करोड़, तो आप इस लिमिट को यूज तो करो. So the first time in the budget speech, the Honorable FM talked about Companies Act, and the notifications were issued to make it effective from 1st April. This 50 lakh limit has been increased to 2 crore and turnover from 2 crore to 20 crores. आपको कुछ स्पेसिफिकली नहीं करना. जो कंपनी आपकी पिछले साल मार्च 21 के अंदर स्मॉल नहीं थी, वो 22 में स्मॉल हो गई है. काफी कंपनीज हमारे क्लाइंट्स. So what is the impact which I'll be doing for March 22 financial statements? So there would be no CARO, no CFS, no IFS, IFC, there would be no internal financial controls reporting, no CARO, no cash flow statement, no IFC for all these small companies. अगर आपने रियलाइज किया होगा जब की आपने एनुअल रिटर्न्स फाइल की, तो जो पिछले साल स्मॉल कंपनी थी वो इस साल ऑलरेडी स्मॉल कंपनी, यानी कि जिसकी टर्नओवर 2 करोड़ से 20 करोड़ के बीच में थी, पेड अप कैपिटल अप टू 2 करोड़ थी, इस साल उनका MGT 7A गया है, 7 नहीं गया, क्योंकि इस साल वो स्मॉल कंपनी है. Now apart from this, what are the other benefits? One of the another benefit is, in case there is a delay, that the penalties which are there for a small company, it is only 50%. Another professional opportunity here, that in case of 2 or more small companies, you have to merge them. वैसे मर्जर के लिए आपको जाना पड़ता था NCLT में, but if 2 or more small companies, you have to merge them. No need to go to NCLT. The RD would be doing it. Fast track merger scheme. Fast track merger scheme is there. You need not go to NCLT. RD would insert to it.
The full form of RD?
A regional director. ROC के ऊपर regional director जो. So yes, fast track merger scheme. वो अगर दिल्ली की बात करें तो पर्यावरण भवन में बैठते हैं. हर एक रीजन में जहां पे है सबके पास RD वहां पे हैं. So this is a huge benefit for the smaller entities. Right? Now another benefit which was done with effect from 1st April 2021 for the 1-person companies. 1-person companies में क्या चैलेंज होता था? 1-person कंपनी में ये चैलेंज होता था कि अगर उसकी कैपिटल 50 लाख क्रॉस कर गई या टर्नओवर 2 करोड़ क्रॉस कर गई, तो उसको 1-person कंपनी से कन्वर्ट करना पड़ता था प्राइवेट कंपनी. 1-person company could be formed only by an Indian citizen who is a resident. The changes have been made. First, that only an Indian citizen can make an OPC, but he can even be a non-resident. तो जो इंडिया से बाहर है, they can have it. And now if we see last year जब residency की definition में change आया, where they said in the case of a non-resident who's having an income from Indian sources more than 15 lakhs, then he would be resident but not ordinary resident. तो वो अगर पर्सन की इनकम इंडिविजुअल के बजाय वो 15 लाख से ऊपर OPC में होगी, तो he will still remain a non-resident. So these all things would be there. Then again, रेजिडेंसी का उन्होंने पीरियड चेंज किया, 182 दिन से घटा के 120 दिन कर दिया. एंड द सेम चेंज हैज बीन ब्रॉट इन LLP आल्सो रूल्स, जो अभी अशोक सर ने अभी डिस्कस किया सबके साथ. देन द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, नो लिमिट्स फॉर फोर्स्ड कन्वर्जन. यानी अभी 2 करोड़ क्रॉस करने के ऊपर कन्वर्ट नहीं कराना प्राइवेट कंपनी में. अब एक OPC के टर्नओवर 1000 करोड़ भी हो सकती है, फिर भी वो OPC रहेगी. Then a existing private company can again be converted into OPC. No limits कि भाई आप उसको 2 करोड़ से नहीं चलाओ, 20 करोड़ से नहीं चलाओ, कैपिटल को कम करो ना. कैपिटल भी जितनी मर्जी हो सकती है, टर्नओवर भी जितनी मर्जी हो सकती है. आप एग्जिस्टिंग प्राइवेट कंपनी को भी OPC में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. दोनों वे के कन्वर्जन का the only form is INC 6. So now what is an OPC? अगर मैं OPC की बात करूं तो OPC means one shareholder, single shareholder. There can be more than one director, but shareholder is only one. What is the benefit? Why OPC? In a sole proprietorship, you don't have a limited liability. In OPC, you have a limited liability. You have a limited liability. So, of course, limited liability is one of the very, very important benefit which you can give. Then there are certain persons who don't have another person who they can make as a shareholder. वैसे मैं स्पाउस को नहीं बना सकता, अपने रिलेटिव्स है नहीं, या वो गवर्नमेंट में है, नहीं बना सकता. बार बार वो चेंज करते रहते हैं. कभी किसी एम्प्लॉय को बनाते हैं, कभी किसी फ्रेंड को बनाते हैं, फिर वो चेंज हो जाता है, उससे साइन नहीं होते कई बार. सो दे कैन कन्वर्ट इनटू OPC. बट उनको कंपनी में क्यों काम करना है? बिकॉज दैट दे वांट द status as that of a director because they have to go to MNC, they have to go internationally. So they want a private company, they want the limited liability. Then there is succession planning. Today, what happens in the case of sole proprietorship, if the sole proprietor expires, what happens? He'll have to, the legal heir will take it up, there would be change in PAN, there would be change in TAN, there would be change in the GST registration number, bank details, everything would change. In OPC, everything continues, only the signatory changes, nothing else. Same PAN, same TAN, same GST. Legal here, there is a nomination in the memorandum that if something happens to the single shareholder, who would continue after him? That is there in the nomination. And that nominated person will have to first give his consent. He can withdraw his consent anytime. That single shareholder can anytime change the nomination also. So that all flexibility is given. I should be fully aware of all these things, because if I want to, you create, you open a sole proprietorship will not get any fee. There will be no corporate structure out there, but you create an OPC, you'll get all those fees. You will guide him to grow big with the limited liability, with the brand names. Then again, income tax benefits. A sole proprietor cannot take salary or remuneration from himself, but he can take from OPC. A person can create only one OPC. So remuneration, salary, interest, he can have that. Sole proprietor into manufacturing, he doesn't have that 17.5%, 15% wala manufacturing ka. 115 BAB is only for company. So he can go for 115 BAB. Yes, that dividend distribution, the financial statements, audit, everything is there. Taking of loans from the persons, restricted at 73, all that is there. All that is there. But yes, certain benefits and certain different things, it is there. Right? So any question on this small company or OPC, please? Any question on this small company or OPC, please?
सर एक मेरा क्वेश्चन है इन रिगार्ड टू 7A MGD 7A जो अभी हमने डिस्कस किया था. So for the current year filings for the year ending 21, there are certain scenarios wherein my turnover was exceeding 20 crore rupees, but still the form is not, the MCA portal is not accepting a MGT 7 form, it is accepting only 7A. Whenever we are filling a form and we are pressing the pre-scrutiny button, there is an error throwing that in this case, there is a requirement to fill MGT 7A, which as per me is wrong, but we are forced.
What was your turnover for year ending March 21?
40 crores.
There was some technical error.
And this is happening in all the cases. We have various clients whose turnover are beyond 20 crores and it's happening like this. And share capital was although less. It was less than 2 CR.
So there is some error into this. There is some error which is there. You should have. So you have filed, that is very fine, but you could have raised a ticket.
So what do you suggest? We have still some time left.
No, you have filed. That is fine.
Okay.
You have filed AOC 7, MGT 7 or 7A. Annual return you have filed. No need to go again.
Right.
Gaurav Goyalji's question is there. How about Indian director? How about Indian director is mandatory in private limited company in case promoters are foreigners? It is not about in a private company to have an Indian director, to have a resident director. There are 2 foreigners, no issue. 1 foreigner has to be resident in India. That is the requirement. That is the requirement. He should stay in India for more than 180 days. That's all. You can have 2 foreign directors. Next thing, and which is very, very important to note, and this is only noting item, and to implement it, though it is a one line change, but I understand that there would be lots of error due to this. Like at the time of introduction of 115, BAA, BAB, BAC, I told several times at that time also, please note that for specifically for BAB, that you have to file that form 10IE within the first year, whether or not you have commenced your manufacturing or not. And many people have forgot to file it, and now the issues are coming. Similarly, take here in the case of accounting standards, there is change in the accounting standards, which we call is now the company's accounting standard rules 2021, notified with effect from 23rd June 2021, effective for this financial year 21-22. And what it has done, it has just changed, replaced the company's accounting standard rule 2006. तो करना क्या है, सारे standards same है, कोई change नहीं है. But in the significant accounting policies, in our audit report, at 2 places we write that the company has complied with all the accounting standards issued under section, that is the company's accounting standard rules 2006, as issued under section 133 of the Companies Act 2013. Now that rules 2006 has to change to 2002. सिर्फ इतना ही करना है. ये 2006 अब चेंज हो गया, अब ये 2021 आ गया. तो आपके नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स एंड ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट में भी हम मेंशन करते हैं. तो ये 2006 से 2021 करना, ये मार्च 22 की फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के लिए छोटी सी चीज है, बट एरर हो जाएंगी तो बाद में एमसीए और अगर इंस्टीट्यूट के अंदर डीसी में आएगा तो नेग्लिजेंट तो माना जाएगा. हालांकि we can still fight कि there is no change, but you are saying that you have complied with all accounting standard 20006. एक छोटा सा चेंज आया 2006 और 2021 में चेंज नहीं कहूंगा कि चेंज तो पिछले साल से इफेक्टिव हो गया था, बट 2021 में ये आ गया था, वो लास्ट की एक स्लाइड में दे दूंगा. बट यस, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, प्लीज टेक केयर इन योर नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स एंड ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट. नेक्स्ट इज अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज CSR compliance. I've had lots of queries on the CSR compliance because everyone knows that in case your company is meeting with any of these 3 criteria, net worth more than 500 crores or more, turnover 1000 crores or more, or net profit 5 crores and more, you have to constitute CSR committee and spend at least 2% of the average net profit for the last 3 years. Now, what happened up to financial year 2019-2020? Either you spend, if you don't spend, explain the reason thereof. Then came January 2021, where they amended section 135. And they said that you have to spend it. If you don't spend, then if it is not an ongoing project, transfer the same to Schedule 7 funds within 6 months. And in case it is an ongoing project, transfer within 30 days to the special account unspent CSR account, and spend within 3 years. And if you don't spend, transfer it to Schedule 7 funds. Schedule 7 funds कौन से होते हैं? ये Prime Minister National Relief Fund, PM Cares Fund, Clean Ganga, Swachh Bharat, ये जो 4-5 Schedule 7 में दे रखे हैं. Now, so for March 21, you had to spend, and if you had not spent, you had to create a provision which was not there for 2020. So 21, you had to create a provision. For 22 also, if not spent, you have to create a provision. And please take care, there was an FAQ issued in this current financial year, where they said that in case the amount is spent through an implementation agency, आपने किसी ट्रस्ट को दे दिया जो सारी क्राइटेरिया मीट करती है, और उस ट्रस्ट ने स्पेंड नहीं किया, तो it will be treated as not spent. Not spent. कंपनी को अगर ये कंडीशंस मीट आउट नहीं होती तो जितना अमाउंट स्पेंड करना था उसका 2 times की पेनल्टी है. And the auditor is to report in CARO this compliance. इस साल के मार्च 22 में आपने इसकी compliance रिपोर्ट करनी है CARO में. Auditor के ऊपर आता है, तो you have to be very careful because they are now very serious on the CSR compliances. right? And we all know that a new form has been introduced, CSR2, where it has to be a part of form AOC4, director's report का part बनेगा as an annexure to the AOC4. For March 21, they have said file by 31st March 22. This is a separate form, CSR2. तो जिसके client की company को CSR2 applicable है, they should file it by 31st March 22, this form CSR2. बता दें उनको जो file करना है. Then again, there is a change which is going to be effective from 1st June 2022. 1st June 2022. Third को भी जो ऐड किया section 403 का. Then higher additional fees is there for all forms other than this increase in share capital, AOC4 and MGT7. क्योंकि इनके लिए तो 100 rupees per day, इसके लिए percentage based है. बाकी सबके लिए higher additional fee where the default is 2 times or more occasions. आपका समझ लीजिए MGT14 था, आपका DIR 12 था, एक बार डिले हुआ 30 दिन से, आपने 30 दिन के बोलो जी एडिशनल फीस तो लग रही है, दे देते हैं, 2 महीने बाद फेल कर देंगे. Habitual and non-compliance in time. Companies, they take it very lightly. In case of INC 22 and PAS 3, the default on 2 or more occasions would be within 365 days. बाकी सबके अंदर तो perpetual है. लेकिन ये जो फॉर्म्स फाइल होंगे आफ्टर 1st June 22 वही काउंट होंगे, तो पिछला छोड़ दो. यानी कि if there is a delay from 1st June 22 onwards और फिर 2 बार डिफॉल्ट हो जाएगा, देन ये हायर एडिशनल फी लगेगी. वो हायर एडिशनल फीस क्या है कि यहाँ पर मैक्सिमम 12 टाइम्स थी, ये 18 टाइम्स. ये हैबिचुअल है, उसको फर्क नहीं पड़ता, तो हायर एडिशनल फीस देते. एडिशनल नहीं लगती, सीधे हायर एडिशनल फीस लगेगी. एक बार एडिशनल, दूसरी बार हो गया तो हायर एडिशनल. क्लाइंट्स को बताते जिनको टाइम से काम करने की आदत नहीं, जिनको टाइम से काम करने की आदत नहीं, आप बता दे 1 जून ऑनवर्ड्स एक बार की माफी है, दोबारा की माफी नहीं है. तो प्लीज टेल देम इन एडवांस. राइट? एनी क्वेश्चंस अप टू दिस पॉइंट प्लीज? You said this question is regarding OPC. आपका वो क्वेश्चन था इंडियन डायरेक्टर. He has to be an Indian. An Indian citizen only can incorporate an OPC. Only an Indian citizen can open, no one else. Any other questions? No. Sure, great.
सर ये CSR के अंदर एक आया था ना कि आपको बैंक में ट्रांसफर करना है सर, वो क्या था कि भाई आप अगर नहीं स्पेंड करते हो?
अभी बताया ना सर. मान लीजिए आपकी कंपनी ने CSR में स्पेंड करना है एंड इट देयर इज एन ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट, कि वो प्रोजेक्ट को साल भर से ऊपर ही लगना है, तो वो ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट हो गया. तो अगर ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट के लिए है तो आपको साल के, और आपने स्पेंड नहीं किया इस साल, तो 30 days फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ दैट फाइनेंशियल ईयर, जैसे मार्च 22 तक आपने स्पेंड नहीं किया, तो 30th April 22 तक आपको एक अलग अकाउंट खुलवाना है, अनस्पेंड CSR अकाउंट. और जितना आपने स्पेंड करना था आपने उसमें ट्रांसफर कराना है, और फिर वहां से पैसा CSR के लिए उस ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट में देना है.
तो जहां ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट नहीं है वहां शेड्यूल 7 के हिसाब से फिर ट्रांसफर करना है पैसे.
वो तो फिर सरकार को दे दो.
सर जो मान लो मार्च 21 का जो था और उसने पूरे 21-22 में स्पेंड नहीं किया,
अगर मार्च 21 का था तो उसने इस साल स्पेंड करना था.
हाँ.
मार्च 22 तक तो स्पेंड नहीं कर पाता और कोई ऑनगोइंग प्रोजेक्ट है भी नहीं, तो बेटर है वो इसी साल प्राइम मिनिस्टर नेशनल रिलीफ फंड के अंदर जमा करा दे. और अगर उसको 115 BAA BAB में नहीं है तो 100% उसका ATG का बेनिफिट सरकार को पैसे दे.
उसमें वो अमाउंट नहीं देखना कि उन्होंने स्पेंड किया नहीं किया, देखना
है ना.
अच्छा,
नहीं किया तभी तो देना है, कर दिया तो नहीं देना.
नहीं सर, उनमें वहां मतलब उसको दे दिया एजेंसी को, मान लो उधर.
ठीक है. हाँ
सर जैसे मान लो प्राइम मिनिस्टर रिलीफ फंड में दे दिया, तो जैसे एजेंसी का तो हमें मॉनिटर करना है कि उसने स्पेंड किया नहीं किया, उनका थोड़ी करना है हमें. जहां
ना उनका नहीं करना. वो तो आपने फंड डोनेट, उसमें नहीं करना. सरकार को दे दिया वो अपने आप पे.
ठीक है.
Great. Now coming to one of the very important point which would be discussed within the next few days by everyone, and that is relation to audit trail. अब last year ये आया था to be made effective for all companies who are maintaining the books on the computer mode, that it should have an audit trail. It should have an audit trail. And what is an audit trail? It says that books of accounts, if it is maintained on electronic mode, it has to remain accessible in India so that it is usable. Then for एक साल के लिए extend किया क्योंकि लोगों ने कहा हम तैयार नहीं है, that any company which uses this accounting software shall use only such accounting software which has a feature of recording audit trail for each and every transaction and creating an edit log for each change made in books of the accounts, and along with the date when such change was made, and ensuring that audit trail cannot be disabled. 1st April 22 आ गया. आपने अपने कितने क्लाइंट्स के केस के अंदर उनको बताया कि उनको अपना जो अकाउंटिंग है अब ऑडिट ट्रेल वाले बेस्ड सॉफ्टवेयर के ऊपर ही करना है? Now, issues would come. First, client has not done. Second, partially done. आप अभी बोले उसने अप्रैल में, मई में, जून में चालू किया. Third, again non-compliant. In this case कि उसने ऑडिट ट्रेल तो लगा लिया बट वो डिसेबिलिटी वाली चीज भी है, कुछ लॉग चेंज कर लिए एडिट लॉग को. फोर्थ, उसने पूरा का पूरा कंप्लायंट किया, सब कुछ किया, ऑडिट ट्रेल है, डिसेबल नहीं हो सकता. नाउ द रोल, बिकॉज आई ऑलवेज टॉक फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू ऑफ द ऑडिटर. अब रोल ऑफ ऑडिटर क्या होगा ये बताओ. फर्स्ट, अगर वो कहता है कि उसने तो किया ही नहीं ऑडिट ट्रेल, छोटी कंपनी थी, कोई काम ही नहीं है उसमें, साल में एक बार किताबें बनती है, ये आधे घंटे में बन जाती है 4 बैंक की एंट्री, ऑडिट ट्रेल नहीं किया तो आप क्या करोगे? नाउ द इशू इज देयर इज वन ऑफ द रिपोर्टिंग व्हिच इज देयर अंडर 143(3) which talks about whether the proper books of accounts have been maintained or not. Now in this case proper books have not been maintained, because proper books तो तभी होंगी जब वो ऑडिट ट्रेल वाला हो. So the role of the auditor to qualify out there that proper books have not been maintained. The second question comes, then if the proper books are not maintained, then whether the financial statements are true or fair or not. Whether, because auditors का रोल देखिए, एक तो है कंपनी का मैंने ऑडिटर मेंटेन नहीं किया, आपको जो करना करो, मेरे को जो पेनल्टी 50,000 से 5 लाख की लगेगी मैं लगवा लूंगा. But the issue is how to guide our colleagues on this. Second, उसने पार्शियल किया. थर्ड, मान लीजिए उसने प्रॉपर कर लिया, तो क्या वो ऑडिट लॉग का मैं करूंगा क्या? उसने डेट्स चेंज की, कुछ एंट्रीज डिलीट की, so what will be the role of the auditor thereon? How will I report proper books are maintained or not, true and fair effect हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? So there need to be a proper guidance into this. And at the institute level, I have talked to AASB, the Auditing and Assurance Standards Board. They are working on this, the technical guide on the audit trail. And I'm part of that. I'll try and ensure कि सारे के सारे cases उसमें cover हो. I've already talked once कि ये सब cases, and they are doing a good job. And I hope that that should come out within a month or 2. But yes, please start telling your clients to maintain their books in the audit trail. करना पड़ेगा, हमारे को उनको बताना पड़ेगा, मुझे आपने बताया ही नहीं. So please take care कि audit trail का सॉफ्टवेयर सबको लेना पड़ेगा. Any questions on this, please? एक चौधरी सर का क्वेश्चन है, नोनियाल चौधरी जी का, इफ CSR ट्रांसफर टू प्राइम मिनिस्टर फंड देन 100% ATG, यस अवेलेबल, बट अगर आपका 115 BAA या BAB में है तो नहीं मिलेगा, क्योंकि वहां पे ATG डिडक्शन खत्म करेगा। राव साहब का क्वेश्चन है, इज इट रिक्वायर्ड टू मेंटेन इन एक्सेल फॉर्म और हार्ड कॉपी फॉर्म? If due to technical problem, system is required to format it, then all the entries up to that is entered on single day. How the audit will compliance in this issue? You know, in this case, आपका टैली है, टैली के अंदर वो इनबिल्ट करेंगे, चार्जेस लेंगे, बट ऑडिट ट्रेल उन्होंने तैयार कर लिया। टैली प्राइम इज कंप्लाइंट, श्रीनिवास सर कह रहे हैं टैली प्राइम इज कंप्लाइंट, so you must have paid some extra bucks for the same. So you have to convert into that. So there would be no Excel form. If that is there is an issue, you can say that the company has maintained the books in the pen and paper hard copy. It is not computerized. Then it is a separate issue. In this case of system is formatted, they are having all those details where the whole backup is there. Issue Agrawal ji ne just today Tally has provided an update with audit trail incorporated. So great. So everyone will be having it. So now the issue will be coming because all clients will have to update their Tally well before time.
सर जैसे टैली सॉफ्टवेयर है, उसके अंदर ऑडिट ट्रेल भी हमारा लगा हुआ है, लेकिन क्लाइंट क्या करता है कि एंट्रीज एक साथ नहीं करता, मतलब डेली बेसिस पे एंट्रीज नहीं करता। वो कभी 10 दिन बाद करता है, कभी 15 दिन बाद करता है, कभी महीने बाद करता है, लेकिन वो एडिट भी नहीं करता उनको कभी भी।
जैन साहब मेरे हिसाब से इसमें कोई इशू नहीं।
कोई ऐसा तो नहीं कि 1 तारीख की एंट्री मुझे 1 तारीख को ही करनी है, अगर मैं 20 तारीख को करता हूँ लेकिन मैं एडिट नहीं करता कोई भी।
नहीं, अगर मैं लॉजिकल बताऊं तो देयर वुड नॉट बी एनी इशू।
लेकिन सर ऑडिट ट्रेल तो बताएगा ना कि इन्होंने 1 तारीख की एंट्री 20 तारीख को की थी।
हाँ, अवेलेबल नहीं था, मैंने इकट्ठी की है, मैंने बैंक की सारी एंट्रीज एक दिन में की है।
उसमें तो कोई इशू नहीं है ना सर?
हाँ, कोई इशू नहीं, मैं हार्ड कॉपी में मेंटेन करता था, उसको मैंने सॉफ्ट में अपडेट कर दिया, दैट्स ऑल।
बेसिकली एंट्रीज बैकडेटेड नहीं होनी चाहिए, एडिट नहीं होनी चाहिए।
एडिट नहीं होनी चाहिए
सर। बैकडेटेड तो हो सकती है ना कि मैंने मान लो जनवरी का पूरा अकाउंट्स कर दिया और फरवरी में कोई एंट्री मैंने जनवरी में डाल दी जाके।
कैश की
नहीं, मान लो कि जर्नल की एंट्रीज है या कोई मेरे को लगा कि ये रेक्टिफिकेशन एंट्री पास होनी चाहिए थी उस समय।
नहीं, जर्नल की एंट्री आपने बाद में की, वो बात अलग है। इट वुड डिपेंड, देन यू शुड हैव अ रीजन फॉर एवरीथिंग। यू शुड हैव अ रीजन फॉर एवरीथिंग। अगर आपके पास रीजन नहीं है तो कोई इशू, रीजन है तो कोई इशू नहीं।
क्योंकि सर आज 80-90% तो कंपनीज ऐसी हैं कि जिनका आप जानते ही हो कैसे अकाउंट्स मेंटेन होते हैं।
एग्रीड, लेकिन जैन साहब ऐसा भी तो है ना कि 31 मार्च को 10 लाख का खर्चा डल गया, बाद में 10-10 हजार होता है। वहां तो इशू है ना सर,
वहां इशू है सर।
So what if we say कि अगर हम मेंटेन ही नहीं कर रहे ऑडिट ट्रायल, रेपरकशंस क्या रहेंगे?
हैं?
What would be the repercussions if audit trail is not being maintained?
Not maintained, again the issue would be whether it, first of all, proper books are not maintained. Secondly, whether it is true and fair or not, because auditor has to report ना। क्लाइंट का तो क्या है, कंपनी का तो क्या है, कंपनी तो सिर्फ ये कहेगा ना कि नॉट मेंटेन, मेरे को जो पेनल्टी होगी मैं भुगत दूंगा। So again I am saying that technical guide would be coming soon.
डेट ये सर 1/4/22 ही रहेगी, अब नहीं जाएगी आगे।
नहीं तो कंपनीज तो कोशिश कर रही है, गवर्नमेंट शायद ना मनाए।
सर इनको भी तो स्मॉल कंपनीज के लिए तो कुछ करना चाहिए था इनको कि भाई ये एक बार बड़ी कंपनीज के लिए लगाते इसको।
नहीं, जनरल राव साहब जनरल पेनल्टी नहीं है, पेनल्टी उस सेक्शन में ही है, मिनिमम 50,000 मैक्सिमम 5,000। मिनिमम 50,000 मैक्सिमम 5 लाख, उसी के अंदर ही है। तो आपको ऑफ कोर्स बिकॉज ये हमारा रोल आएगा इसके अंदर, अभी तो क्लाइंट्स को बता दें हमारा रोल जो आएगा that would be for March 22 ending financial year, but we have to guide our client right now कि भैया जो आप डिलीट करोगे, जो आप एंट्री बैकडेट करोगे, you should have reason for everything. मैं बैंक रिकंसाइल कर रहा हूँ, कोई एंट्री रह गई, quite fine, but cash, all those things one has to be very very careful. रवि जी का क्वेश्चन है कि how is materiality concept work on it? We have to do 100% audit. No 100% audit, but when there is an audit trail, there is an edit log. That edit log you'll have to consider, na? You have to have your observations thereon. Materiality concept is there, of course there is there. There would be suitable guidance, but अभी तो हमको अपने क्लाइंट को बताना ऑडिट ट्रेल करो, और जो आप अपने डिलीजन विलीजन, क्योंकि क्लाइंट को, मैनेजमेंट को खुद को नहीं पता, वो उनका अकाउंटेंट ही कर देता है, वो खुद तो अकाउंटिंग करता नहीं है, कईयों के पास पार्ट टाइम अकाउंटेंट है. सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स वी हैव टू गाइड देम. अंकित जी, yes, because we have to, I just told na Ankit ji a question, do we need to comment on audit trail as an auditor? Yes, because there is one of the questions 143 whether proper books of accounts are being maintained or not, and this audit trail is one of the very important question of whether books of accounts are properly maintained or not. You'll have to answer in your audit report, na main auditor's report, independent auditor's report. ये तो करना ही पड़ेगा.
सर 31 मार्च से पहले आ जाएगा सर गाइडेंस नोट, टेक्निकल गाइडेंस नोट?
मार्च 22 से एप्लीकेबल होगा ना सर, सॉरी मार्च 23 से, मार्च 23 वाले ऑडिट में आएगा, उससे पहले तो सर आ ही जाएगा, अप्रैल मई जून तक ही आ जाएगा. हमारे ऑडिट करने से पहले 100% आ जाएगा, देयर इज नो डाउट. We'll have to
make this comment. If we make this comment, the client is not maintaining the audit trail, then what would be the impact on assessees financial as well as what would be the impact on my reporting? मैंने तो comment कर दिया है fact.
नहीं, Vipul ji, then apart from this, you'll have to still say whether this has impacted your opinion that the financial statements are true and fair or not. Point number one, that we shall be putting that, trying that to put that in the technical guide, how to do that. Because ultimately, we as an institute will have to guide our members. This is a new subject. So brainstorming is required, and what to do in each of these scenarios. How we have to tell to the auditors what to do. All the 4 cases which I talked about. So there would be a guidance for the members. It would be there surely. But here what I'm trying to say, tell to the clients this is there. Kindly equip yourself to have that audit trail for your accounting. इतना तो अभी से बोलना पड़ेगा, right? चलिए.
Yes, some members are raising their hands. They
Yeah,
are
please.
requested to put their queries in the chat box.
Unmute भी कर दो उनको, कोई बात नहीं, कर दो सर.
मगर तो टेक्निकल हो जाएगा थोड़ा.
सचिन जी, सुंदर जी, विजय जी, you want to speak? या गलती से भी हो जाता है कई बार एड्रेस? नहीं हो जाता है सर, शुरू में हमसे तो बहुत बार हुआ. You can try and tell them to unmute and then ask. चलिए, जब आप उनको अनम्यूट करेंगे तो दे कैन आस्क. मैं आगे चलता हूं तब तक.
आप करिए, देखते हैं फिर आगे टेक्निकल.
ठीक है. Now going to schedule 3. Schedule 3 comprises of 3 divisions. Division 1 for now company's accounting standard rules 2021. Division 2 is Ind AS. Division 3 is for NBFC, for who are following Ind AS, right? So and changes which are there for all the three divisions, and literally I would say most of the changes are same. So just telling you how many amendments are there in division 1, which is for the non-Ind AS companies, general instructions. There is a change. I would say in the one change out here, balance sheet one change, and general instructions में 25 से ज़्यादा changes हैं. Statement of profit loss one change. General instruction for statement of profit loss 4 changes. Division 2 again general instructions one change. Balance sheet 2 notes to the accounts, there is a change again more than 28. The statement for changes in equity, which is substituted to give in the previous year figures. General instructions for balance sheet more than 28 and profit loss 4. Then I would say division 3 again, statement of changes in equity again substitute previous year figures added. General instructions for balance sheet more than 23 and general instruction for profit loss 3 changes. Now let us go and understand what are the changes in the schedule 3. All the 3 divisions I would talk about, more particularly into the changes through the division 1 itself. तो पहला change अगर मैं बात करूं, पहला change is for the rounding off. Up to March 21, rounding off was optional. For Ind AS balance sheet, it was mandatory. For non-Ind AS, it was optional, which was based upon turnover, based upon the company's turnover. In case the company's turnover was less than 100 crores, then they could have rounded off to nearest 100, 1,000, lakhs, millions, or crores or decimal thereof. If it is more than 100 crore, then 100 and 1,000 gone, only lakh, million, or crore or decimal thereof. Now this total income has, they say you have to based upon total income and not turnover. Then again, now rounding off is mandatory for March 22 financial statements. So last year when I had spoken on schedule 3 amendments, I talked about at that time itself that you should apply this because the rounding off was optional for 21 and 20 and 19, 18, 12, it was there. So you could have tried it in the previous year itself. If you have not, because some balance sheets, it could be that I forgot. So I can make that change in 22. But I am still saying that we will be talking about this again and again, but there would be still certain errors. The financial statements would be still prepared in full rupees. But it is mandatory for rounding off to near hundreds, thousands, lakhs, millions or crores. The baat aayegi how to take care practically. Practically in the sense that how do I round it off and wherever it is required to give my financial figures, say for income tax return, for tax audit. So from where to see and reconcile? So for that, when we round it off, we suggested to our clients to round it off. We suggested them in the case of less than 100 crores to round it off to nearest hundreds. For example, if some figure was 1,24,850, so we round it off to 1248.50. So now I know what is the actual figure. It is rounded off as well as actual figure. So जब मैं कहीं पर भी वो figure देना चाहूँगा तो it is all in front of me. You can also adopt it if in case the company's turnover, a total income is less than 100 crores. It is a practical aspect which should take care of. Because if you do for 1,000 lakhs or millions, then there could be certain issues. Then they have corrected, I would say, corrected the headings of the asset side, that is property, plant and equipment, where they have said कि जो assets में non-current assets है, in that it was earlier only property, plant and equipment. Now they said property, plant and equipment and intangible assets. And instead of tangible assets, they have mentioned property, plant and equipment. Right? So this is one, I would say, a correction made, which it seems to be cosmetic, but yes, to comply with my AS10. AS10 and AS26, they have done it, right? Next important change, we have been providing the details of shareholders for more than 5% and above shareholding and their change. But now we have to also provide promoters' shareholding at changes during the year. It could be that a promoter is there who is having less than 5% also. It could be not a bigger issue. Now here you have to give the changes for the current year as well as the previous year, both. And from where the promoter is to be decided? The promoter is defined under the Companies Act itself, under Section 2. And what does it say? It says it includes that any person who is represented to be a promoter in the annual return. So kindly see in your MGT 7 or 7A whom you have stated to be the promoter. Check कीजिएगा for 21 and 2020 so that you are able to give for 22 and 21. It could be that for in 20 the promoter is different, in 21 the promoter is different. It could be there. So you have to give it, right? Another change which is there, which they talk about current maturities of long-term borrowing. Long-term borrowing है मेरी term loan है और उसकी 1 साल की maturity है, 1 year's maturity. So earlier it was classified as current liabilities. Now they say, and it was being done since year 2012 when revised schedule 6 was implemented. Now they say, don't classify it as current liability, classify it as short-term borrowing. Current maturities of long-term borrowing. Another reclassification, 2 reclassifications they have done. One is this, second is security deposits to classify as other non-current assets instead of long-term loans and advances. These security deposits are current assets or non-current assets, other non-current assets, and not long-term loans and advances. So they have reduced this security from the long-term loans and advances. Now, next 3 amendments, all have heard about them. I don't know whether you have got that implemented in your client's financials for the year ending 2021 or not. I prepared a small video also at that time that to tell to your clients to implement that is 2021 itself. Otherwise, in 22 there would be an issue. So what are these? First, the aging of trade payable. Earlier we used to give only for MSME, dues to MSME and non-MSME. Now it has to be given even if it is disputed or non-disputed. Then aging of trade payable, due for less than 1 year, 1 year to 2 years, 2 years to 3 years, more than 3 years. So you would be saying, क्या प्रमोद जी आप क्या बात कर रहे हो, तो 22 दे देंगे ना, तो 21 की नहीं दोगे, previous year figures भी तो देनी है ना. So just think about, in 21 it was 5 crores, in 22 it is 6 crores. So what about your auditing principles? Trade payable more than 3 years. So have you got the external confirmations done for these? For these? How you will say that these are actually payable, that the financial statements are true and fair? This will be in the financial statements? Not only the registrar, not only the bankers, Even the income tax department would be asking, "Kaun hai bhai laat de do?" We had advised last year itself, see that these figures in the 21 itself are reduced. Otherwise, in the 22, you'll have to explain both the years. And it could be a case that when you talk to your clients, due to materiality or other conditions, in aggregate, it could be more. Item wise, it could be less. So they would not be having even the name and addresses of these persons, because we have been always concentrating on trade receivables more than 6 months, less than 6 months. And I had been talking about this since past many years, when I trained the bankers and others, that even the independent directors, you are always asking about trade receivable more than 6 months, less than 6 months. But why don't you ask about trade payables also? Have its aging and ask why it is not paid. Is it payable or not? Right? So now it has to be given. And I hope you have already told your clients about this. Now, it could be a case that 5 crores to 6 crores, it could be a case that for 5 crores it is nil. So in सबके तो ledger लाई दो हमारे को कैसे nil किए? Everyone would ask. Please take care. Again, what I have been telling all the time is that ultimate responsibility would be on the auditor out here. Client would face, no doubt, but auditor will have to say what did he check, where the dues were more than 2 years, 3 years. Are they actually payable? How it is true and fair? What is your audit documentation? It would be asked. Any question on this trade payable aging or any supplement? Ashok Gargji's question is, trade payable MSME or for everyone aging? For everyone. Gargsa for everyone. MSME, non-MSME, disputed, undisputed, or Manoj Agarwal ji ka question hai, but after rounding off, it is very difficult to fill ROC forms as it asks for figures in rupees. I just told you how to do it. Round it off to nearest 100, you will get in rupees, right? maybe next year they change the ROC form. But still I doubt they won't be changing it. A trade payable on the face of the balance sheet given as micro enterprises and small enterprises, whereas as per aging requirement mentioned as MSME. There is disagreement in meaning of micro enterprises and small enterprises with MSME. Includes medium enterprises. In this is how to disclose this. When we talk about MSME, the disclosure requirement comes from the MSMED Act 2006. I suppose section 22, something like that. Where they say, Rao Sahab, where they say that in case for micro and small, if the payment is not made within 45 days or within 15 days where there is no written agreement, then you have to pay interest at 3 times. And that detail they say in section 24 or 26, that detail with the 22 one is there, 22 is there, you have to disclose in your financial statements. So this disclosure is coming from the MSMED Act. So that requires only for the micro and small, not for the medium. Ashok Gupta question, what is the logic of MSME disputed? They say MSME oblique disputed means that you have to bifurcate your trade payables into MSME and non-MSME and disputed or undisputed. Just like for the debtors, we say confirmed, which are good, which are doubtful. Then more than 6 months, less than 6 months. Here, it could be that my trade payables are more than 3 years and they are all undisputed. So why it is not being paid? Every stakeholder would ask.
So by disputed, what do they mean? Disputed in court of law? Ya fir वैसे ही
court of law. Dispute means court of law.
Oh.
Not self-created. So the stakeholders want to know that if these are dues to MSME, then how it is so much delayed. Then they will check it with a form MSME form 1. If it is undisputed beyond 3 years, still not paid. So again, it would be required, because if it is in financial statement schedule 3, auditors will have to verify it. So from the whole session today, you will see that the requirement of the auditors verification has increased multiple folds. So please charge your fee accordingly. Quote your fee accordingly for March 22 financials. बोलो जी 25-30 पॉइंट और एक्स्ट्रा आ गए। और सबसे पहले तो ये बता दो जी, इसके अंदर आप हमारे को एजिंग करके दो, ये सब चीजें करके दो। जब तक हम उनसे चीजें मांगेंगे नहीं, they won't understand what are the implications, right? So yes, now trade payable aging, MSME, non-MSME, disputed, undisputed, both are required, and the aging. So aging, please take care. मैं बता रहा हूँ आपको, there would be many cases where the companies would not be having even the name and address of the person to whom the amount is payable. The question would come on the auditors. If the aggregate becomes material, what did you see? How did you say it is true and fair? And giving a wrong fact, certifying a wrong fact that it is all due less than 2 years, 3 years, would be again a problem on the auditors, that you had to verify the aging. So whatever changes we are discussing today, all parts of schedule 3, they all are required. They all are required, right? Yes, aging would be done separately for MSME and disputed. You can create a column and then put MSME, non-MSME, disputed, undisputed. The presentation is upon you. That's all. Great, thank you. Going further, the next aging is of the trade receivables. And again here, disputed, undisputed, doubtful, good, unbilled dues, iski bhi main baat karunga. And again here the aging is not only less than 6 months, but 6 months to 1 year, 1 to 2 year, 2 to 3 year, more than 3 years. Abhi tak to 6 months and more than 6 months, less than 6 months karte the. अब आपको एजिंग देनी है, अगेन 22 and 21. आप कहोगे यार ये एजिंग, मेरे डेटर्स 3 साल से ऊपर, यहाँ 10 करोड़ थे, यहाँ 12 करोड़, तो बिजनेस क्या कर रहे हो? ये पैसे आने हैं कि नहीं आने? और आप कह रहे हो सारे के सारे अनडिस्प्यूटेड हैं, आप कह रहे हो कोई भी डाउटफुल नहीं है और पैसे नहीं आ रहे. So what business are you doing? How it is true and fair? If it is not receivable, not being received, where are the confirmations, and why and when they will pay? Again, the role of auditors would be asked. All the auditors would be asked. So one has to be very careful. अभी से बता दो जी, एजिंग कर लो. जितनी भी है यहाँ पे कम से कम फिगर्स 31st March अभी है. And unbilled dues, these are normally into service industry, construction industries. जो कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स वगैरह करते हैं, नॉट बिल्डर्स, कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स और सर्विस इंडस्ट्रीज, वो क्या करते हैं कि अपना अनबिल्ड ड्यूज बढ़ाते चले जाते हैं. इनकम टैक्स दे देते हैं, जीएसटी नहीं देते, क्योंकि जब तक बिल नहीं रेज किया तब तक कम कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, तब तक जीएसटी नहीं दिया. सो इसकी भी एजिंग मांग ली. Unbilled dues आपके चले आ रहे. These are huge into software companies and construction companies, and especially those with the government agencies. They have to account for, as per my AS9 service industry percentage completion method. So you'll have to recognize the revenue, unbilled dues, unbilled revenue, which we talk about. So this also aging would be required now. My concern with the companies and the auditors again here is this area more than 1 year and up to 3 years. So these figures, I have to be very, very careful in verification of all this and issuing my report accordingly. And similarly, they have asked aging for capital WIP, capital intangible assets which are under development, whether they are temporarily suspended or not, or they are overdue or have exceeded its cost. Then aging of when to be completed. चला आ रहा है कैपिटल WIP 30 करोड़ 40 करोड़ बुक्स के अंदर, आप देखते हैं 40 करोड़ चला आ रहा है 10 साल से, दोबारा आपने देखा ही नहीं उसको, आपने कहा कोई चेंज हुआ इसमें, नहीं हुआ तो चला आ रहा है, कितने साल से है, क्या इसकी पोजीशन है, कभी किसी ने पूछा नहीं. I understand that in small and medium companies, micro, small and medium companies, there would be less item of capital WIP. But in the bigger entities, even the listed entities, this amount is huge. So they are more worried about it. But in very few of our clients which we SMPs handle, it could be there. So one has to be careful about this. So any questions on this aging? Gira sir ka question hai, is it possible that ICAI drafts a point-wise checklist for compliance in every kind of reports to be issued by an auditor? It is because nowadays there is huge compliance in every field, and it is very difficult to comply for the small firms. But if checklist is provided, then it would be very useful. Gira sir, देखिए अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स की चेकलिस्ट ऑलरेडी है, हम उसको अभी अपडेट कर देंगे दोबारा. स्मॉल एंड मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस के लिए भी है. ऐसे ही ऑडिटिंग की भी चेकलिस्ट है. अगर आप देखेंगे तो AAS में वो चेकलिस्ट अवेलेबल हैं. These all are available. You go on their website, institute's website, you will get that. Right? And yes, institute is working because we want the auditors to comply as more as possible, so that they are not affected, basically. And we should not hesitate. I'm telling you this is a fact. We should not hesitate in qualifying or giving a fact which is adverse to a client. Please take my words seriously. Why I'm saying so? Because if we don't do so, all the stakeholders, they have a thought process that we are favoring too much to our clients, and the audit, they are not getting any benefit out of it. They are not getting any benefit out of it, and that is the reason they are reducing the audits slowly and gradually. So please never hesitate to give the correct facts. It is on the whole profession. One chartered accountant, they show that only audit report, whether it is tax audit, whether it is company audit, they show only those reports. My 1,25,000 members which we have, maybe 1,24,900 are doing perfectly fine. But few hundred, their balance sheet take it and then say these are your members who are doing. So we are not getting any benefit. Even for in the case of bank audits, they say that we have seen the time spent by auditors in the system. They say for the whole audit, they have spent only 1 hour. Because everything is now computerized. So that there is no benefit of getting the audit done. So the bankers are putting like that. Because we know that many of our friends who are doing a fantastic audit and they are putting lots of MOCs through NPS and others, they also don't find favorable to them. And then the next year they don't give the audits to them. So they are finding means and ways to reduce the audits. All the stakeholders, they are putting it that before the ministry. So we, as chartered accountant fraternity, we have to be very careful that this audit specialty which we have, we should literally give the right facts. We should not go harsh on our clients, but we should not ignore a fact which is against the provision of the law, in which we are not reflecting and taking all the stress or blame on us. Think again what I'm saying and then take a call accordingly, right? Another change which is again a disclosure requirement, basically. These all are disclosure requirements that in case of property, plant and equipment, if there is any revaluation done और वो 10% से ऊपर है, तो आपको एक लाइन आइटम में और दिखाना है. Another change now, is about the title deeds of immovable property. अगर हमको याद हो तो ये कारो 2016 के अंदर ऑलरेडी है क्लॉज 1C में और 2020 में भी है कि क्या इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी कंपनी के नाम से है कि नहीं है तो किसके नाम से बता दीजिए, राइट. So now they have created in Caro 2020 a chart in the Caro कि if held in the name of promoter, director, relative of promoter or director, employee of promoter or director, बता दो किसके नाम से है. Now it is there for the auditor to report in Caro, but they have brought that in Schedule 3 itself. He let the company first say कि what are the title in whose name the title deeds is there. And take care in this case. In this case, take care in case the company LLP is converted into a company or there is a merger and the name is still in the old, the predecessor LLP or company. Then also I have to report. उनके नाम से है, किसके नाम से है, अगर promoter director के नाम से है तब भी देना, किसी और के नाम से तब भी देना, and giving the reasons. So it would be in the Schedule 3 as well as. Now this would help the auditor to see that it is disclosed in the notes to the accounts and they will report accordingly and refer to that also. They can do that also. Right. This we have been, because when I was chairman of the Valuation Standards Board, so overwhelmingly we had represented to various stakeholders, MCA, RBI, income tax, SEBI, IBPI, that wherever there is a valuation required, that valuation should be not by a merchant banker or any other person, but it should be by a registered valuer. And in case of Ind AS as well as this AS balance sheets, compliant balance sheets, wherever the revaluation was required or the valuation fair market value was required, so fair value was required, in that case they got it done from any other person. They said that only which is given under section 247, only those transactions will get it valued by the registered valuer, not others. We said no to any valuation under the Companies Act or for even for the financial statement, it should be done by the registered valuer. So now they have brought in that in case of revaluation or fair value for the Ind AS or the AS, that valuation should be done by the registered valuer. And the same question has been asked that if it is revalued done by the registered valuer or not, the requirement is in Caro 1D also. So कारो में आपने रिपोर्ट करना है, उन्होंने वो शेड्यूल 3 में मैनेजमेंट से ले लिया, मैं उसका मैनेजमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन लूंगा, उनका मैनेजमेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन के बेस के ऊपर पूरा कारो के साथ साथ उनका शेड्यूल 3 में भी डाल दो, नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में भी डाल दो. So my auditor role is strengthened to that extent, right? Now another change which is again very important, loans and advances granted in the nature of loans to promoters, directors, KMP and related parties. Related party जो Companies Act में defined है, whether severally or jointly, and then you have to tell whether they are repayable on demand or without specifying any terms or period of repayment. हम ये वाली डिटेल्स ऑलरेडी AS 18 के हिसाब से देते थे. AS 18 में रिलेटेड पार्टीज के तुम देते ही थे, कितना लोन दिया, कितना एडवांस दिया, सब कुछ देते थे. और 186(4) में भी अगर मैं लोन देता था तो कहता था इंटरेस्ट पे है, क्या पर्पस है. बट नाउ दे आर आस्किंग फर्दर दैट इफ यू आर गिविंग इट, क्या ये रिपेबल ऑन डिमांड है, क्या बिना टर्म्स के है, क्या पीरियड ऑफ रिपेमेंट कोई दे रखा है, आप दे दिया पैसा बस वापस कब आना है पता ही नहीं, तो बता दो. प्लस कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ द टोटल एडवांसेस है, आपकी एसेट साइड है मान लीजिए 50 करोड़ का और आपका लोन्स एंड एडवांसेस जो है वो मान लीजिए 10 करोड़ है. इस 10 करोड़ में से कितना परसेंटेज आपने प्रोमोटर्स डायरेक्टर्स को दे रखा है, ये बता दीजिए. क्या 100% ऑफ दिस और 10% और 5%? This was again required by Caro 2020, again required 3F. जो लोन एडवांसेस दे रखे, कितना परसेंटेज आपने दे रखा है बिना किसी डिमांड के, बिना किसी पेबल ऑन डिमांड और विदाउट स्पेसिफाइंग एनी टर्म, तो आपको इसमें एग्रीमेंट चेक करना पड़ेगा. पैसा डायरेक्टर को, प्रोमोटर्स को, आपको साथ साथ में 185 भी चेक करना है कारो के लिए. वो तो आप रिपोर्ट कर ही रहे हैं, ऑलरेडी कर रहे हैं। 185, 186 we are already reporting since last now 5 years, 2016 से कर रहे हैं, right? But now additional what is there, कि इनकी terms क्या हैं, that they would give in the notes to accounts, will report in clause 3F in the car. आप गौर से एक चीज देखिएगा, ये जब शेड्यूल 3 अमेंड किया तो मैंने जब इसको एनालाइज किया तो मैंने कहा हाउ स्मार्टली द गवर्नमेंट हैज डन। उन्होंने पहला काम तो ये किया कि कारो लेके आ गए, उसके बाद जब शेड्यूल 3 अमेंड किया तो उसमें सारे पॉइंट्स डाले, उससे पहले उन्होंने स्मॉल कंपनी की डेफिनेशन चेंज कर दी। उनका 20 करोड़ तक कारों की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं, कारों की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, बट अगर शेड्यूल 3 में आ गया तो ऑडिटर को कारो एप्लीकेबल, कंपनी को कारो एप्लीकेबल है या नहीं है, ऑडिटर को तो शेड्यूल 3 के सारे नोट्स के ऊपर अपने व्यूज देने हैं। कारो, अब हम देखेंगे कितने सारे क्लॉजेस जो कारों में रिपोर्टेबल थे वो शेड्यूल 3 में ले आए। उनको ये पता है कि मैक्सिमम आउट ऑफ 15 लाख कंपनीज, more than 12 lakh companies are small companies now with less than 20 crore turnover. So then, okay, no need of caro. Given schedule 3, auditor will have to report directly on all the items which they wanted. They have put in out here, right? So our role in the caro one would be reduced, but where caro is not there, there will increase. Certain points other than caro are also there, right? So शेड्यूल 3 में जो चेंजेस हैं सब पे हमको रिपोर्ट करना है। यस, कुछ पॉइंट्स जो मैं बता रहा हूं वो आपको अपने को कारों में हेल्प करेंगे, राइट? एनी पॉइंट अप टू दिस पॉइंट? अगेन, when revaluation is required, in case sir the management feels that they can take their property, plant and equipment on a revaluation, there are two methods, cost method or revaluation method. So they say we want to revalue over all immovable properties. So if they have to revalue, they have to revalue the whole class. जितनी immovable property सबको revalue करना चाह रहे हैं. So if they revalue, they have to get it done by registered value. Next is a simple one, I would say, because there is a reporting for Benami property, but it is to be given only where any proceeding has been initiated or pending against the company. So the requirement under Caro clause 1 is whether the company has disclosed this in the notes to accounts or not. तो अगर नोट्स में कंपनी को डालना है, कोई बेनामी प्रॉपर्टी का कोई नोटिस आया, इनिशिएट हुआ, आपने एमआरएल लिया, नहीं है तो आपने नोट्स में डाल दिया, उसके बाद आपको कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं करना। So this is simple one, asking and just giving. Now next one again is very much talked about, is related to my statements given to the bankers, where the company is borrowing from the banks of financial institutions against the current assets, inventories, debtors, and quarterly returns are filed with the bankers. Are they in agreement with the books of accounts or not? If not, summary of reconciliation and reasons of material discrepancies. ये मुझे याद है जब लास्ट टाइम मैं काउंसिल में था, एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच कि आप लोगों का ही रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूं मैं काउंसिल में, आप लोगों का पूरा सपोर्ट हमेशा रहता है, थैंक्स फॉर दैट। तो जब मैं लास्ट ईयर था काउंसिल में, जब कारो 2020 पे डिस्कशन चल रहा था, देन हाउ our current president at that time, he was chairman of CLCGC, so and AASB G Shekhar ji, they went with the MCA and fought that how we can give it for so many companies. So they fought and put that into Caro 2020, that only where the working capital limit is 5 crores and above, there we have to report it Caro. हम सबकी नहीं कर सकते, आप हर एक के ऊपर क्यों करो, इतना बर्डन क्रिएट कर रहे हैं। तो कारो के अंदर तो आज की डेट के अंदर भी रिपोर्टिंग तब है अगर मेरी वर्किंग कैपिटल की जो सैंक्शन लिमिट है 5 करोड़ से ऊपर है, बट शेड्यूल 3 में कोई लिमिट नहीं है। So even if it is a 50 lakh rupees working capital limit, the management to disclose. कारो की रिपोर्टिंग 5 करोड़ से ऊपर है, बट शेड्यूल 3 में अगर मेरी कोई वर्किंग कैपिटल लिमिट है which is based upon current assets against current assets, my collateral could be more property, but basic security is current assets, then the quarterly returns which I am filing, maybe I am filing monthly, but I have to see at the quarter end, are they in agreement with the books of accounts or not? If not, then the summary of the reconciliation and reasons for the material discrepancies. For 22 you have to give and 21 you have to give. I hope you have already told to the clients. So here again, more working is required. Right? Any question on this, please? Rao Saab ka question. In few cases, monthly returns asked by the banker instead of quarterly. Disclosure applicable, Rao Saab, I have just covered that you have to see at the each quarter end. Suppose it is for April, May, June, July, August. So June quarter end you have to see, September quarter end you have to see. Rakesh Sarinjay question, only FFR 1 and 2 are being filed with banks. One relates to quarterly and other is half yearly. So whatever is your periodical, quarterly and half yearly. So quarterly will report, so all 4 quarters will be there. Suppose the bankers in the second letter have asked only for half yearly, then you have to disclose the half yearly itself. And in your CARO, you have to say only half yearly reporting is there. Sandeep Jain ji, a question, do we have to take MRL regarding all reports filed with the bank sales? How we can verify? You know, there is a guidance note for CARO 2020 issued by ICI. What does it say? That you should take it, thus because the statements what the bank, what the company is giving, you should try and take it from the bankers, or have an evidence that whatever it is submitted to the bankers with their stamped copy. Most of the time what happens when the client says that no, we don't give it on the stamp, we just send an email. So of course have an MRL, and please on a test basis get it checked from the bankers. You know your client how he is, so you'll have to take care of it. Okay, sir? Yeah. Rakesh Saranji, financial follow-up report. Okay. That's fine. So whatever is being filed, if it relates to my current assets statements which are filed with the bankers, that is fine enough. Whatever terminology they have used, that's quite fine. No issues there. Great. Next one, if I talk about, is again whether the company has not used the borrowing for the purpose for which it has been taken. Specific purpose. Now, specific purpose is not a OD limit or a CC account. Normally in the CARO they have talked only for the term loans. Here it could be that the OD or the CC limit, if it is given for a specific purpose, then you have to take accordingly. Then it is also again required for CARO 9C, and even if it is temporarily invested, then also you have to disclose. Suppose the company has been given a term loan to purchase a machinery for say 5 crores, and the company has placed the order, but it is yet not ready, so they invest that 5 crores into FDR for say few months. Then also you have to disclose. So what is a diversion? So that you have to see as per the RBI Master Circular, they have defined utilization of short-term working capital funds for long-term purposes not in conformity with the terms of sanction, deploying borrowed funds for purposes, activities, or creation of asset other than for which the loan has been sanctioned. Diversion as per transferring borrowed funds to subsidiaries, group companies, or other corporates by whatever modalities. Routing of funds through any bank other than lender bank without prior permission of the lender. Investment in other companies by way of acquiring equities, debt instrument without approval of the lenders. shortfall in deployment of funds vis-a-vis amounts disbursed, drawn, and difference not being accounted for. So as per IFR circular, these all are diversions. So accordingly, we have to report out there. Now, next one is again a very interesting disclosure. Now that is related to my 11 ratios along with the numerator and denominator. And if the variation is more than 25% as compared to previous year, you have to explain the variation also. This was a normal auditing practice which we used to do. And in certain cases, we even had our documentation where the variation was more than 10%. Here they are asking for variation in the ratio for more than 25%. And these 11 ratios, current debt equity, trade receivable turnover, trade payable turnover, inventory turnover, net capital turnover, NP ratio, GP ratio. GP ratio to isme hai hi nahi, because GP ratio you cannot derive from the financial statements per se of a company. So it is there. What is CARO clause 19 talking about? These ratios which are given in the financial statements are helping the auditor in the case of CARO to opine a particular thing. What is that opinion which I have to give? That clause 19 of the CARO says whether the auditor is of the opinion that no material uncertainty exists as on the date of the audit report, that company is capable of meeting its liability existing at the date of balance sheet when they fall due within 1 year from the date of the balance sheet. 31st March 22 को आप audit करेंगे, तो then you have to opine कि that company would be able to meet its liability within next 12 months जो भी due हैं, on the basis of financial ratios, aging and expected dates of realization of financial assets and payments of financial liabilities. ये aging, आपकी aging 2 साल 3 साल के बहुत ज्यादा है, तो कहते हैं अगले साल की मैं पेमेंट कर दूंगा, आपकी तो डेटर्स बढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं और आपकी जो करंट लायबिलिटीज हैं एजिंग 3 साल से ऊपर की है, बट देनी तो सारी इसी साल है ना आपको. Other information accompanying the financial statements and knowledge of board of directors and management plans. इसके बेस के ऊपर, इनके बेस के ऊपर आपने ये ओपिनियन क्लॉज 19 ऑफ कारो में देना है. So financial ratios and aging. Financial ratio is one. Aging, expected date of realization and payments of financial, सब आपने लेना है. This is one of the humongous tasks for the auditors to report upon. Any views or comments, please? Sandeep Jain ji ka hai. Generally, CC limits are granted for working capital, and if same has been used to repay interest-free and secure loan, with the same mistake reported. No, they are talking about specific borrowing. Specific borrowing. So Sandeep ji, Jain sahab, यहाँ पे report नहीं करना, यहाँ नहीं करना. So this opinion that I have to give based upon financial ratios and aging and expected date of realization, that also I have to see. Right? Okay, great. Next amendments are 3 very important amendments. Out of 3, only 2 are important. One is just again a disclosure where they say where a company is a declared willful defaulter. Declared willful defaulter by the RBI, and RBI issues such willful defaulter list. So clause 9B also asks the auditor that whether the company has been declared a willful defaulter. So schedule 3 में आएगा और schedule 3 से आपने कारो में report करना है. And now 9E is a very interesting. 9E is in the कारो. कारो में पूछा गया था कि आपकी कंपनी ने जो पैसे दे रखे हैं, including foreign entities, क्या वो इस अंडरस्टैंडिंग से दिए हैं, whether recorded in writing or not, that they would directly or indirectly lend further to the ultimate beneficiary or provide guarantee or security. So at that time also, we represented how will we tell the intention, and we have to see so many transactions, not only borrowed funds, even utilization of the borrowed funds, where the company has advanced. यहाँ पे share premium भी है, borrowed share premium, कि पैसा लिया ही मैंने इसलिए कि आगे देना है, या फिर मैंने जो पैसा दिया वो इसी इंटेंशन से दिया कि मेरा borrowed fund जो मैंने लिया वो उस कंपनी ने मेरे को इसी पर्पस से दिया कि मैं आगे दे दूं. So my borrowing and my advancing, both I have to report. This is 99F. So this was in Caro. So हमने कहा कारो में हम ये उनकी इंटेंशन कैसे चेक करेंगे? हमको of course there was no option but to take an MRL. Now apart from MRL, it would be stated in the Schedule 3 itself. Schedule 3 itself. So this, that to any, the company has advanced to any other person or entities, including foreign entities, these are all our intermediaries, with the understanding that that intermediary shall directly or lend or invest in other persons or entities identified in any manner whatsoever or by on behalf of the company ultimate beneficiaries or give provide. बहुत सारी कंपनियां हैं जो कि शेयर कैपिटल बनाती है और फर्दर कैपिटल में इन्वेस्ट कर देती है, इस तरह लोन ही देती है और पैसा लिया भी इस पर्पस के लिए कि मैं आगे फर्दर दूंगा और वो आगे किसी को देंगे. So all those entities through which the routings are done for various group entities, various big houses have such group entities कि पैसा ले भी इसीलिए रहे ताकि आगे दे सकें. Now this reporting would become very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Right? Any questions up to this point? Great. मैं 1 second का give me 20 seconds. I'm just coming in 20 seconds. Yeah, thank you. And now next amendment. Again, a very, very important amendment. And that is regarding my relationship and transactions with the struck off companies. You know, few years back when various companies were struck down because they were not filing their ITRs, their ROC annual returns for 2 years and more. The company was struck off. At that time also, we had shell companies, discussions, seminars. And that time too, I told a lot of time that if in your financial statements you are having the balances outstanding to or from those shell companies, kindly see that they are not receivable or payable. So you should write it off. Now they have asked in Schedule 3 itself. Relationship with the struck off companies, investment, debtors, creditors, shareholders, there was a discussion because the point which was discussed is that auditor need not see the shareholders, but now they have asked. So loans, just think that you are auditing a company who is saying that I have taken a loan from a company which does not exist and I have to still pay. It is true and fair. What would the auditor report? What audit we have done? So now when it would be given, 22, 21. Just think, if you have not written off in 21 and you say loan 21 1 crore, 22 nil. So how 21 when it was not struck, but it was struck off? How you said it was true and fair? Please see. My debtors, creditors, investments, I've given further loan, I've given invested into their equity, still standing at full amount, and they are struck off. And there is no chance of revival. Management of the company of which you are auditing, they would be in trouble as well as the auditor. ये डिटेल देनी है with amounts. ऐसा अगर हुआ कि 21 में बैलेंस है 22 में नहीं है, क्वेश्चन would be on 21. Please understand. So that's why I told at that time कि though it is for 22 plus please see on 21. But at least you are giving the figures now for both the years. 2 crores here, 2 crores here, still auditing and saying true and fair. Just think about that. Just think about that. Get it verified. I hope you've already done. Also, what about position of struck off companies having shareholders in our company? Shareholder. Is it possible to verify each and every balance outstanding to corporate in case of large company, say turnover more than 1,000 crores? How can we maintain audit documentation in relation to struck off companies? Rao Sahab, it is very simple. And I had talked that time also. You know, I have been talking about this for now more than 10 years, but now just one point, we have been talking a lot of time that there is no opportunities, lack of opportunities. CA profession, we are going down and down, no new opportunities. But when the opportunities come, we take a step back because we have never thought process that I have to charge for every service which I render. I do charge, but for every service which I render, for 143 1A, for 148A notices, for 135 notices, for 154 rectifications, a client comes to say, okay, there is a notice which has come from the MCD, please help me to reply. I reply, but don't charge a fee, because that thought process of charging is not there. Had that thought process, we have to create it now. Please understand, and it is not our fault because our seniors did it, their seniors did it. We concentrated on excellence, we concentrated on integrity, we concentrated on services, but never concentrated on our invoicing, our billing, our charging. कभी सोचा है कि पूरे दिन की कितनी इनवॉइसिंग की है, कितने का गल्ला हुआ पूरे दिन में? How much invoice the whole staff has done today? On what I'm spending my time and my staff is spending time. Now, if that thought process we create, just think, this question would not have been there. Why? Because I would have told my client, sir, you have to give this detail. It is his duty to give. कोई जी मेरे लिए पॉसिबल नहीं है, क्या बात करते हो सर, फीस दो, देखो अभी करवा देता हूँ. आप हमारे को आज फीस दो, मैं ना करा के दो तो मुझे बोल देना. या यहाँ पर जितने भी हमारे 100 से ऊपर मेंबर्स हैं, किसी एक को भी आप फीस दे दो और वो ये चीज ना करके दे, चाहे वो 1000 ही कंपनीज हो, 10,000 कंपनीज हो, वो करके दे देगा. आप फीस दो ना. स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, जो भी काम है, नो स्ट्रेस. प्रोफेशनल काम है, प्रोफेशनल फीस लगेगी, क्यों नहीं होगा, सब काम होता है. स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट दैट. कोई भी काम करो, बस फीस लेनी है भैया, दिन का मेरा जितना टाइम लग रहा है उसकी फीस कितनी है. As simple as it is. The whole profession would go. I've never seen say a cab driver who says 5 किलोमीटर फ्री चला दूंगा आपके लिए. या कोई भी अपनी सर्विसेज, डॉक्टर्स, एडवोकेट्स की बात छोड़ दो, मतलब किसी भी बिजनेसमैन, किसी भी ट्रेडर, किसी की भी बात कर लो जो फ्री देता. हम चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स की, मे बी it was our seniors since the initiation की सर्विस पे फोकस करना. We are a noble profession. I agree. Doctor is also a noble profession. Everything is noble. I don't deny, but charging a fee on time is again there. So Rao Saab, in this case, take that an assignment, give it to any of your colleagues. You do it, whatever you want to do. Everything is possible. There is nothing which is not possible. And if they don't do it, qualify. As simple as. Just My thought process, kindly put that in your thought process. कि daily की मेरी कितनी billing हुई है? Ask your staff on a daily basis. कितनी की billing हुई, कितनी की collection हुई? Because they keep on working, they don't ask for the fees to the clients. Start doing that and you'll see the difference within a year. It will not be done in a day, I'm telling you, but it will take few months or years. But the whole profession would change. My sincere request, try and do that. Right? But yes, this truck of companies will have to be done. There is no option. And if the companies is not able to do, auditor will qualify. And then if it is a huge amount, huge companies, then there could be a disclaimer, there could be a qualification to that extent. To that extent, right? Now this is not reportable in Caro, but it is there in Schedule 3. Another change is in relation to the charges, creation of satisfaction. Have they been done beyond the statutory period? Now, in case of satisfaction of charge, there is no issue because that can be delayed. But in case of creation of a charge, there is no condonation allowed. You'll have to report here, and specifically in the case of vehicle loans, the NBFCs, the bankers, they don't insist on creating a charge. So now in Schedule 3, in the notes, they'll have to mention. And if it is mentioned here properly, auditor will have no issue. But you have to see that the fact is reported correctly. You have to see as an auditor whether any charge was creatable or not. Has that been created or not? Was any satisfaction required to be noted or not? Whether that has been noted in time or not. So both has to be disclosed out. Any questions on this, please? In case of charges not yet filed, only required to report or delay in filing. Delay in also filing, sir. Yet to be registered is given in the notification. Yeah, so if there is a delay or yet to be registered, you have to give satisfaction yet to be registered, charges yet to be registered. So there was a requirement to register the charge, creation or satisfaction. If delay, then also. If not registered, then also. Both have to be given. Very, very rightly pointed out by Rao sir. Both have to be given. Another change is related to the compliance with the number of layers of companies. We know that it is given in the definition that a company should not have more than 2 layers. So their rules is there for the compliance for the 2 layers of companies. एक company में दूसरे में क्या, दूसरे ने तीसरे में क्या, तीसरे से आगे नहीं हो सकता. So they have to mention that into these financial statements in Schedule 3. And in case of mergers, demergers, any scheme of arrangements, they have to mention that is the accounting done in the books of account in accordance with the scheme and in accordance with the accounting standards. Though in the scheme also it is mentioned that any scheme of arrangement, it has to be done in compliance with the accounting standards. So there is a certificate also which goes that it will be done as per the accounting standard applicable. So then here the company has to report in their Schedule 3 that yes, it has been done as per the applicable accounting standards, and the auditor will have to verify it. Right? So these were the major changes in the notes to the accounts in relation to the balance sheet. Then there are certain changes in relation to the profit loss. First of all, the title from total revenue, they changed to total income. And as we discussed in the first slide, the rounding off is now based on total income and not revenue, right? Not turnover, not turnover. So total income they have mentioned. For Section 8 companies, another line item has been added, that is grants or donation received. So another line item added in the revenue from operations for Section 8 company. And in case there is a search during the year and certain undisclosed incomes were disclosed during the surrender, which was surrendered, then you have to report. The company has to report also in CARO clause 8. It has been asked from the auditors that unless certain immunity is under the scheme, whether you have properly recorded that into the books of accounts or not. Like for Vasya Vishwasak, there was no requirement to report. There was an immunity. But other than that, if there is a surrendered income, you have to report that. Another disclosure which is required for the trading done in the virtual currency, cryptocurrency. You know, here they had already amended Schedule 3 and mentioned cryptocurrency, virtual currency. Income tax has gone much ahead and they have not talked about currency. They have talked about NFTs and they have talked about virtual digital asset. They say it is not a currency for us. So two ministries, Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Corporate Affairs, both taking a different stand, one saying it is a currency, another saying no, it is an asset. Minister of the both ministries is same, Honorable FM Nirmala Sitharaman. So same minister of two ministries, both having different views. One is saying currency, another is saying asset. But yes, that is required. But here, not talking about NFTs, which is there in VDA, right? Restriction number of layers. Rao Saab ka question hai. Restriction number of layers notified to in 1 year. Company disclose the matter itself and why every it is required. You know, they are not allowed to do it. So unless they are not allowed to do it, is not allowed to invest more than two layers. So until the MCA takes note of it, the company is still required to disclose. Rao Saab ka agla question in relation to undisclosed income. Regular assessment is also covered in 143, only search is only. It is only in the case of search. Only in the case of search that they have specifically mentioned that, which is not recorded in the books, and then later on that is recorded. They are talking about only that, only about that. Profit loss, another change. The details which is required in the notes to accounts, amounts required to be spent, expenditure incurred, shortfall previous year, reason for shortfall, nature of CSR activities, related party transaction. There was always a question asked whether it has been given to the related NGOs or not. So now here it is all there. So provision has been made there or not. So all that details in the profit loss, it is all required. CARO 20, it is that which we were talking initially of the CSR also, whether in respect of other than ongoing projects, company has transferred unspent amount to a fund specified in Schedule 7 within the period of 6 months of expiry in compliance of 135(5), or whether any company remaining, whether any amount remaining unspent under Section 135(5) of the Companies Act pursuant to any ongoing project has been transferred to the special account in compliance of 135(6). These two questions have to be answered by the auditor, right? Division 2 and 3. Division 2 and 3, it is nearly, I would say, same. Mostly as Division 1 in financial liabilities, because there is a lease, new addition made, new Ind AS which is there on the leases. So in financial liabilities, addition of line item of lease liabilities there. Then statement of changes in equity, that is subsequent additional disclosure is required for the prior period errors and restated balance sheet at the beginning of the reporting year. Previous year also the figures have been added. And as I said earlier also, that fair value of investment property and revaluation has to be done by the registered valuer only. That is there. Division 3 for the ratios, for these ratios have to be given in the case of NBFCs. Now, another important point which I stated in the initial discussions was the accounting standard applicability for companies other than Ind AS. And this is effective for periods from 1/4/2021. So March 22 के लिए पहली बार होगा. Abhi, what is there is my SMC, and other than SMC, existing limit is less than 50 crores SMC and more than 50 crores other than SMC. This limit has been revised to 50 crores and borrowing increased from 10 to 50 crores. So if there is a company whose turnover is less than 250 crores for March 22, for accounting standard applicability, it would be an SMC. So what is happening is that there would be lesser disclosures required. Lesser disclosures required as compared to last year. And if you see the disclosure requirements as per the accounting standards, the company's accounting standard rule 2021, up to March 21, you had to write like this, that in the notes to the accounts, if the company is a small and medium company, that the company is a small and medium-sized company as defined under the general instructions of the in respect of company's account standards notified under the 2013. Accordingly, the company has complied with the accounting standards as applicable to a small and mid-sized company. So for financial statements from 31st March, 1st April 2021, it would change. It would be the company is a small and medium-sized company, 250 crore turnover, 50 crore loan, as defined in the company's accounting standard rules 2021, notified under the Companies Act 2013. Accordingly, the company has complied with the same. So this SMC disclosure is going to change in most of our companies, which we are already less than 250 crores. Right? So this is an important one, please. For non-companies, we already know that it was changed last year, that instead of 3 levels, now there are 4 levels. Now it is not level 1, 2, and 3, it is 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 micro less than 10 crores. Pehle tha less than 1 crore. So up it is now 10 to 50 crores level 3. Level 2 is 50 to 250 crore, and more than 250 crore, which is similar to my non-SMC. Again, 50, same. So level 1 here and non-SMC is there. So SMC again divided into small, medium, and micro. So what is the impact for non-companies out here? The change they have brought in. Again, for non-companies, you have to mention like this, the entities are micro, small, and medium enterprises, और जो भी level applicable है उसके हिसाब से मैंने disclosure की. ये भी आपको notes to accounts में डालने पड़ेंगे. Right? And AS की applicability अगर मैं बात करूँ, एक simple सा chart for companies, non-companies, level 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see the change which is there, cash flow पहले भी यही था, only other than SMC पे लगता था, अब level 1 पे पहले भी लगता था, अब ये limit बढ़ गई है 250 crores. Property, plant and equipment, foreign exchange में कोई major change नहीं, जो चीज optional थी उसको उन्होंने आपको कह दिया कि इसको apply मत करो. Employee benefits पहले भी ऐसी था, but major change which I found is in my 2 items. Leases पे भी वो partially था. One is my related party here, no. पहले related party सारी कैटेगरी पे था. आपको नोट्स टू अकाउंट में रिलेटेड पार्टी के डिस्क्लोजर करने थे नॉन कंपनीज में. कंपनी के केस में तो पूरे हैं, बट अप टू 50 crores proprietorship, partnerships, LLPs, no disclosure of related party transaction. 48 to be 3CD separate. Deferred taxes applicable है. यहाँ पार्टी का मतलब है करंट टैक्स देना है, डेफर्ड टैक्स नहीं देना. Level 4 less than 10 crores. So these are the changes in the accounting standard which you will be doing it this year March 22. कुछ reduce किए क्योंकि जब मेरा level 2, 3, 4 ले गए 250 करोड़ से नीचे वाले तो compliances थोड़ी सी कम हो गई. Compliances थोड़ी सी कम हो गई. Right, but then I have to align my financial statements and notes to the accounts according to that. Right? Yes, experts panel already as told by convener sir, Raviji and Vipul bhai that yes, expertspanel.in, you can register, sign up here. After signing up, an email would be coming to you. There would be a link. You click on that, your account would be activated so that your email ID is verified. Thereafter, you can log in and ask any question on income tax, GST, company law, RBI, FEMA. Any question you can ask. You click on the question, the answer would come here. Answer would be automatically coming on your email ID. You can search existing questions out here. You type your words, the questions list would be covered. You can see various articles, presentations, videos, notification, category wise. You clicked on articles and you went on to income tax, only income tax articles would be there, only income tax presentation would be there. Now more than 32,000 answers have already been given by around 120 experts. There is a mobile app also of this experts panel. It is sexpertspanel.in. And also this presentation I'll be sharing on this website, lonavat.com. Also, there is a free mobile app, Lonavat, where you get all these presentations, all the videos, and all updates which are there since year 2007. Again, category wise, and all ready to use charts. So anyone can visit all these two portals or download their mobile apps. And again, the times are a bit different, though we are feeling that yes, COVID is going, but still take care. Be cautious, but remain always positive. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. But always have positive attitude in your life, so that you are always happy and your all colleagues who are around you are happy. And I'm available on various social media. You can connect to me at any time. Of course, my mobile number and email ID and this website is there. You can connect to me anytime. Thank you very much. Any questions, I can take all those now.
So first of all, can I have the permission to share your presentation on our website as well?
Yeah, 100%. I'll upload, you will just download and share it. Sir, it is for the purpose of sharing only.
Thank you so much, sir.
Few questions. Again, Rao sir, a question. Even as per AS 18, related party transactions are not required to report. But we have to know, sir. No, sir. As per AS 18, related party transactions were required. It was not exempt, but now the exemption has been given for non-companies whose turnover is less than 50 crores. Up to March 2020, it was required to be given for any entity which we audited. And that's why I shared a list of accounting standards which are applicable. I talk about class 3 and 4 only, sir. Agreed for March 21 ending and thereafter 3 and 4 not required. But up to March 20, even class 2 and 3 they were covered. But what you have said rightly, currently, I totally agree with you, sir. Thank you. Any other questions I can take?
Sir, any changes in regard to director's report? Any quick overview? No change. Okay. And other than Caro, any change in auditor report?
Auditor's report also no change.
No change.
No change. You know, Caro 2020 is the new Caro.
Yeah.
Up to March 21, we were reporting Caro 2016.
Yes.
Now it will be Caro 2020.
Yes.
So more clauses. So this year, financial statements, Caro, both will increase.
ये डायरेक्टर जो डिस्क्वालीफाई हो गए थे उनका अभी क्या स्टेटस है?
डायरेक्टर्स जिनका डिन डिस्क्वालीफाई हो गया था, जिनके अभी तो कई लोगों के 5 साल कंप्लीट हो गए,
मगर उनका भी उन्होंने कहा था ना कुछ इंडिविजुअली बेस पर देखेंगे, सबका उन्होंने रेस्टोर तो नहीं करा मेरे ख्याल।
नहीं, 5 साल के बाद तो रिस्टोर हो गया।
हो गया,
ऑटोमेटिक
कर सकते हैं।
रिस्टोर हो गया
हो गया
restore।
हो गया।
उसमें बस केवाईसी पेंडिंग होगा, वो आपको केवाईसी कंप्लीट करवाना पड़ेगा उनका, DIR3 केवाईसी।
मतलब भाई 5,000 फीस दोबारा।
हाँ,
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक ठीक ठीक। और कोई क्वेरी?
So I guess these were the questions. Ravi ji, you can.
Okay. Should we close now?
Thank you. Thanks to each and everyone, all participants who have asked various questions, answered also, and to convener, deputy convener, and Jain sir for always being there, sharing his thoughts and process there. Thank you each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for a very informative and lucid talk. He has imparted his knowledge in a very easy language. I hope members have benefited from his deliberation, and it will help them in profession and guiding their clients. Now I request the Vipul Mata to formally present vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ravi uncle. What can I say about Pramod ji? Pramod ji has been a mentor to me on a very personal front, and I feel he's an inspiration to many professionals out there. And the level of knowledge that he possesses, and the manner and the simplicity with which he imparts that knowledge is simply commendable. And we have had a great session today. This session, I feel, would definitely help all of us here making the correct compliance with regard to financial statements for year ending 22. And Pramod ji is just a master of his class, and he has explained each and every change very minutely and precisely. So much thanks to you, sir. On behalf of all the members of Rohini CPE Study Circle, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to you. Thank you for taking out your precious time. Also, Ashok ji, I'd like to thank you for a wonderful gist of your latest development. Thank you so much for, sir, for imparting vast knowledge to all of us every now and then. Thanks a lot, sir. It's a very great effort on your part, and we acknowledge that, sir. Thank you so much. With this, we conclude the session for today. Thanks a lot for joining. Have a wonderful evening. God bless.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.